Hello, 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 hello. We are here for the very first episode of Naturally One. This whole thing has been a work in progress for like years. I started off like playing Pathfinder and trying to build a bespoke campaign for that, and then as I got into 5e, I kind of changed gears because 5e was just more flexible in a lot of ways, and so I put it down for a few months and pick up and work on stuff and put it down for a few months. And then a little over a year and a half ago or so, maybe 2 years ago, a friend of mine who you guys are going to get to meet in a little bit was like, hey, run a 5e campaign for me, please. And then badgered me for months. Um, and well, here we are. This hey, run a campaign for me evolved into hey, we're gonna try to stream this and turn it into a big thing. So yeah, before we get actually started with this whole big old thing, we have a couple little housekeeping things. The first one is that there are new channel emotes. Um, they have been added to Twitch, courtesy of Howl to the King, friend of the stream. She does a lot of really fun stuff. We streamed with them back on Halloween, so yeah. So there's that. They are on the tier 1 subscribers, and then we move the Valheim token up to the second tier subscribers just because I only have so many emotes per tier right now. It's just a thing. Channel points. Most of those things are going to be turned off for the stream because I'm not going to be paying attention to all those things that are going on. I'm not going to be answering those alerts. I want to be able to focus in on what we're doing with the story because we have some great players here ready to embark on a fantastic tale. Don't worry, they'll be back for like the normal streaming nights, like Fridays and Sundays, because this will be hopefully consistently every Tuesday. Same kind of follows for any follows, subscribers, raids. I appreciate all of it, but I'm not going to be able to address all of it until probably like the very end. I might scroll through and read what's what. And chat in general, we're just going to kind of keep it, try to keep it clean, keep it don't get too crazy, because if I have to let automod ban you, I will let automod ban you. I don't have, a slew of moderators there to keep an eye on it all. And if I have to change it to emote only chat because you guys are nuts, I will. Let's see. Everything about this right now is kind of a work in progress, especially tonight. It's kind of like a real first rehearsal, so there's going to be some things that are glitchy. There's going to be issues. We're going to try to iron them out. So that'll be fun, and just be patient with us as we iron things out moving forward. This is also recorded entirely, so if Twitch decides to bug out completely and stop streaming, I will be recording this and uploading it to YouTube at a future date. All the details on that will be pending. I will keep you guys posted. Yeah, if you want to keep up to date on any of the schedules or things that are going on with the campaign, and talk to us about technical issues after the show, hit us up on the Discord. So there's a link for that. And yeah, I guess the only other thing is we won't have any streams the 14th through the 21st. I'm going to be out of state for work. That's also going to give us time to iron out any of the stuff we deal with tonight, as well as handling any of these things these miscreants throw at me by bypassing every literal plot thread I throw at them, because this is Dungeons and Dragons, and you can't trust anybody, really. Okay, so without further ado, welcome everyone to Gardhara. It's a great land that's teeming with diverse regions, landscapes, and life. A world first molded by long-forgotten gods. A world once strife with chaos and war following the March of the Titans, and the relative peace under the newly found line of goblin kings so many generations ago. Today, in the northeast region of Eglar, rich and fertile plains surround two large mountain ranges, the rounded crowns to the west and the awful barbs off to the east. Within their valley, an expansive marshland that fades into small woods and some barren fields of sand as you travel south towards the Fiery Fingers, a dormant volcanic range that dwarfs all other formations on this continent. Topped at the highest cones with nigh insurmountable snow and ice. On the west side of the mountain range, there are deserts that flank into beaches, and on the eastern side, tribal badlands with sparse vegetation. West of the rounded crowns, plains turn into a mix of grasslands and savanna-like plateaus, gradually narrowing between the shimmering true ocean to the north and the hardy seas to the south, a murky brackish remnant of the Titan's rage, at least according to legend. Beyond the narrowing to the west stands the holdings of the great capital city. Former capital city. 70 years ago, without explanation, the Goblin King Tunruk vanished without heirs and without a trace. For the first time since the March of Titans, from which near all history has been recorded, Gardhara was without a ruler. The ensuing wars have mostly subsided, outside of the occasional skirmish, and as such we return to the northeast, nearly a world away from the heart of all that discord, as nestled in the southern side of the rounded crowns, guarded by massive natural stone buttes, lies the city of Golden Spires. Once a crown jewel of the Goblin Empire, the city is one of but a few that maintain its high class and standards, now functioning much like a regional capital itself. Golden Spires' armies patrol and maintain much of Eglar. Its laws govern the majority of subjects in the region. The taxes it levies support this infrastructure. Formerly headed by a king-appointed governor and their advisors, it now rules by committee. The tradesmen guild leaders and merchant oligarchs of this veritable trade hub between the peoples west and south beyond the desert. And with this, I'm going to kick the players that have been listening out into the lobby, except for Rinningham Rackfordshire, the fourth. All right, let's do this. We're gonna kick you guys. Boop, boop. Boop. A wagon train has been approaching Golden Spires from the southeast for several weeks now, stopping by the few camps, hamlets, and towns that pepper the Badlands east of the Fingers of Trade. Rinningham, you awaken with a start as the wagon you've been resting comes to a halt. It is mid-morning, midsummer. You hear a knock on one of the boxes behind where you've been kind of resting, and the familiar voice comes out. All right, you wee bastard. It's time to get up. Come on. You're done loafing about.
I pull myself out of the back of the cart and kind of squint at the noonday sun. And my head still splits a little bit from last night's festivities, but I kind of look around and don't really recognize where we are.
All right, so here's what's going on. You're getting out. You're going to walk north to the next gate because I got to pull the trade caravan through here. And I'm not going to pay taxes on a person that's not cargo. So you're going to have to handle that yourself. And good riddance.
Not cargo. I was cargo just a minute ago, but then you kicked me out.
Just because you sleep with a cargo doesn't make you cargo. You've been with me for months. You've provided not but entertainment. And here, he tosses you a silver coin. Get yourself some lessons. I've been around half the world with you, and none of that music sounded anything like anything anyone had heard the entire time you were with us.
That should give you a hint to how valuable I can be. I am providing a very unique commodity that no one else can.
Yeah, can it. Can it. We're not going there. Just go. Just go. It was a pleasure having you. You were great at moving boxes, but, I've sometimes taken a shite larger than you, and it's time for you to move on so that I can actually move things through. Thank you.
I know you've taken shites pretty large. You smell like you've taken pretty large shites.
Oh, I'm sorry. What's
Mumble,
that you hear?
I just mumble
That's
as I continue to, as I kind of walk off back down the road,
that's what I thought.
separating myself from the caravan.
As you step out, you can see that you're really only a couple hundred yards from the southern gate of the familiar city of Golden Spires, although not as shiny as you remembered from years past. And you can see as other merchant caravans and other tradesfolk are coming into the city, there seems to be a distinct split that any of the larger setups are moving towards the southern gate, whereas people who have occasionally one or two pack animals at most are heading towards the northern gate.
Okay. Was there? I mean, I assume that I would know the kind of cargo that I was in the back of the wagon with.
For the most part, it's been empty boxes. You guys are actually coming back from making large amounts of trade on the eastern side of the Fiery Fingers.
Okay, that's right. Okay, yeah. So then I guess I just I'm a little bit excited because I know some things about the city of Golden Spires, but I'm a little apprehensive as well, just because it's taken a long time to get to get here. So I'm a ways removed from the caravan, but I'm excited. So my step is a little quicker than it normally would be. Going
All
through
right.
a gate that I have to pay taxes on, because taxation is theft. Am I right? Okay, sorry.
All right. So, jeez, you're gonna go there. You're just gonna go there.
You got to jump in with both feet.
As you head north towards the other gate, you very quickly find yourself surrounded by large folk, tall folk. They are, much more paying attention to the things that they're doing as opposed to any, smaller people who are moving among them. You watch as different like cattle or other beasts of burden just kind of like plow right in front of you, or in some cases just step right over you, as you head towards the gate.
So it's not so much of a line as it is a funnel.
At the current juncture, you're approaching a place where you can see the large gate. Appears to be manned by a not insignificant number of guards, and they appear to be funneling people into individual lines. Some appear to be humans, some appear to be a hobgoblin, a couple of orcs and half orcs, just kind of scattered throughout, and mostly waving people into different queues.
Can I? Is there an overarching theme in each group, in each queue, in each query?
There doesn't currently appear to be, and they're not saying much. Everyone seems to just kind of be shuffling into the
And
various
everyone
queues.
seems to be okay with it. There's no one that's like, "Hey, I don't belong here."
Not that you can see.
Okay. Okay. Outside of shouts of
There's someone down here.
I just kind of make my way in the line towards the city gates and get shoveled, like a game of Plinko.
And as you get shuffled in, one of the guards looks down at you and, "What brings you here, kid? You lost your parents? I don't see anyone who looks like your kind."
You know what? I have lost my parents, but because I don't have a mother, I guess I'll just find your mother.
Oh, so you've got an attitude, do ya? Well, we got ways of absolving that problem. Where's your papers?
Oh, papers. I think, speaking of your mother, I believe I left them on her nightstand.
Oh yeah, real funny. Yeah, real funny. All right. No, but seriously, yeah, you have. I assume you're coming to visit, or are you a resident?
I start patting my my coat, my pants. I'm looking for papers. Do I have papers? I would have some kind of paper.
You would know if you had papers.
Right, right. So I as I'm patting, I can feel my coin belt kind of jingles a little bit, and I say,
Hmm, that doesn't quite sound like papers. Does that sound like papers to you?
Sounds to me like someone who needs to have their body and goods searched to make sure you're not bringing any contraband and given a temporary visiting permit uh, over there in the guardhouse.
Oh, well, feel free to touch me, but I'll be telling your mother about this.
and so I like hold my hands up and let him pat me down, search me for contraband, whatever.
Uh, you watch as a large half orc kind of just comes over and just kind of grunts at you and nudges you with the bottom of like the staff on his spear and just kind of, all right, move along here. Go on.
I'm going to, yeah, okay.
All right, watch that stick.
You get shuffled into a small guardhouse off to the side, and as you go, you can see other people are like shuffling around to bring out papers and coin, and the guards are counting their livestock or shifting through some of the bags. This process wasn't in place when you last were in Golden
Right.
Spires. Um, and so they sit you down in this 15 by 15 room. There's lots of like straw and dirt floor and just a very simple wooden table and chairs. A couple of supplies, strewn about like some drinks, some leftover food from lunch.
As I'm looking around and noticing that it's not quite, it doesn't seem to be equipped to handle a large influx of people that they would then have to search. I um, I say,
This doesn't seem like it's something that you all were prepared for. How often does someone of my stature get put through one of these tents?
Most people of your stature tend to have their things in order, like everyone else around here is supposed to have their things in order. So get your things in order. Next time you come and visit, you got to make sure you have your papers. As you saw the giant caravan of people, almost everyone has papers. Where's your
Well,
papers? Why don't you
it's
have papers? You're coming to visit
it's
the Golden
been a
City of
while.
Spires.
It's been a while since I've been to City of Golden
Oh, so
Spires.
you
All
are a
right, and
citizen of.
the last time I was here, no one needed papers. There was no
Was
hullabaloo at the gate stopping anybody from having papers.
as long as
It
I've
seems
worked here,
like
there's
this
been
is a new
papers.
thing.
As long as I've been here, there's papers.
And how long have you been here?
My
sir?
whole life
Because
I've
I
been
can
here.
guarantee, oh, what is your whole life? Not even 10, 15, 20, 30, maybe 40, 40 years, 50, 60. You, sir, have not been around long enough, and I say that I should be let through.
Well, look. So what's gonna happen is we're gonna go through all your stuff. We're gonna make sure you're not bringing any contraband. We'll get you a temporary set of papers. This is normal procedure. Don't fuss, no muss. It's gonna cost you 3 silvers, and then we're
Three
gonna
silvers
look.
to
Yeah, I'm
let
not the
you
one who
look through
I'm
my
not the one who showed up
things?
to this city without my papers. I'm not
I
the one who tried to walk into the regional center of trade without papers.
Where were these signs posted of required papers? There should have been an option for someone to turn around if they known that they didn't have any papers.
Look, man, I just work here. I just enforce the rules. You don't have your papers. We're gonna get you through this. Don't you worry. You cause us any more fuss though, and you're not gonna make it any easier for yourself or for me. And I want you to make it easier for me.
all right. So I say, all right, okay, all right.
Here's my 3 silver.
So I take 3 silver out, smack it on the table, and I hold up my hands and I say,
There's no contraband here.
And he has to really squat down to your, tiny stature.
Would you like me to stand on the chair?
He just picks you up by the back of your shirt and sets you
Come
on top of
on,
the table.
man. Come on.
Just with one
All
arm.
right.
With one arm.
Yeah.
And as he's patting you down to try to make sure you're not carrying any contraband, describe to everyone Rinningham, Rackfordshire House, the fourth.
Yeah. So he's Rinningham, Rackfordshire House the Fourth is he's a Verdan, so kind of a goblin mixed with a halfling. I mean, he's a small guy. He's not very large. None of them are starting out. He's a little more. He looks not as goblin as a goblin, but not as halfling as a halfling. He has kind of ears off to the side, a larger nose than most Verdan, which he's very proud of. Actually, his large nose. He's got quite the schnoz. Not a lot of hair. It's a little wispy, but it's coming in. It's coming in more. It continues to grow, and yeah, he was actually born from city of Golden Spires. It was a long time ago. Verdan lived pretty long, and he's returning home.
All right, look, I patted you down. Not that you have much space to hide anything, even if you wanted to. Freaking weirdo. We'll just, let me get you your papers figured out. Well, I'm gonna sort through your bag while I work on your papers. Make sure there's no contraband in there, and we'll move forward. As it goes, he takes your bag and just kind of starts rummaging through it, and you see, like some of your coinage comes out, some of your little knickknacks and things that you've collected along the way. Your trusty instrument gets laid out on the table, and kind of sifts through, and he looks at some of the food pieces and, where'd you get this from? This is not a native local produce. I see you have a couple of these.
I have a very peculiar diet, sir, and in my travels, I've found certain things that agree with me, and certain things that will keep me fed.
Are they seedless? Are you gonna try to grow these things here? Are you bringing an invasive species into the region, sir?
No, they're not invasive. You just got to know how to handle them.
We had a bit of a plague a couple of years back, and it was due to some risky fruit coming in, and I don't want us to have another one of those. If it's on my watch, I don't want to be
invasive.
Do you know the amount of paperwork I'd have to complete?
Well, you seem to have all the papers you need, not only in your drawers.
Look, I hate
but
doing
from the
paperwork.
People coming in.
Fine, keep your damn fruit. Here, eat this one. Make sure it's not poison. He just stands of the fruit.
I just take a good crunch.
All right, whatever. All right, let me get you your damn paperwork. And you see, he goes off to the side, and he just starts filling some stuff out. And you get a sheet back, and it's kind of hard to read. You can tell he's not exactly the most linguistically capable individual. I mean, he's working in a guardhouse. All right, shove your shit in your bag and show these papers as you go through. You get a stamp on it, and you're gonna have to go to one of the major guardhouses at the gate to the intersection of the city in order to get your, proper residency, even if they're temporary papers. This really is only good for like 3 days. If you get asked for your papers anymore, once you go through and you don't have them or they're expired, there's going to be a problem. Do you understand?
I think so. It's good for 3 days. I go to the main guardhouse inside the gate. Is it still the one that's right across from that bakery?
Bakery? It's a butcher shop now. It's been the butcher shop for like 10 years.
I knew you haven't been here that long.
And I, as I stand up, I slam my hands on the table to stand, or to get down off the chair, and I inconspicuously try and swipe the 3 silver back off the table.
Because he didn't seem to notice him.
Roll me a sleight of hand check.
Whoops.
You're starting
just
this off
clicking
with
it.
a,
Click.
with a real bang.
Oof. I'm using real dice. I can't.
We're gonna use that one for now. Oh yeah, no, he. I'm sorry. Did you just
I'll use D&D Beyond.
Did you? Well, you can use real dice. It's just you already rolled the one, so we're gonna use the one.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Sorry, that doesn't belong to you now. That belongs to give it back.
I apologize. As I was getting up out of the chair, I wasn't looking where I was placing my hands, and it's
Yeah.
been on the road for a very long time, and my hands are a little sticky.
Can it, kid? Can it?
I hand him 2 silver.
Say sorry for the misunderstanding. I'll just be on my way.
It's 3 silver.
That is 3.
Look, I may not be the most literate person. I may have barely made it through that level of my training when I was going through God school.
Oh,
but I know how to count.
It sounds like you have it rough. Here's the other silver,
and I hand him a copper.
You're gonna make me spit my drink in the first like half hour of this whole thing.
Mm.
All right, look. I feel like we've been really nice to each other up till now. That can change real quick. And he points over to the wall, and there's manacles hanging on the wall.
Ooh, I am a bard.
I say, all right, okay, no need to get hasty about it. I was just making sure that my money was going to a good cause.
And I give him the silver.
And he flicks you back the copper, but really just kind of at you, not to you. Yeah, give me a dex check, just a basic dex check.
Oh baby! As I'm walking away, I didn't even consider the copper, and as he flicks it at me as I'm walking away, and it just. Whoop.
Did you like nat 20 it?
Well,
yeah,
it was 18. Yeah,
18. Yeah, and you just no. As you're walking away, you just. And you can kind of hear just a in the back as he walks away, or as you walk away.
I know.
And just beyond the door, you're back to the cacophony of people showing paperwork, having their stuff looked through real quick by guards, making sure no craziness, no contraband goes through. And
do I see did my caravan make it through the caravan that I was with?
They're at the gateway south of you, so you have no idea.
I got there before them?
You're at a different gate.
Oh, because they got okay.
Yep.
Okay. So I walk through, I'm just holding my paper up.
And as you do, one of the guards just kind of like grabs it while you're walking by and just kind of feel the tug. And he looks at it, looks down at you, looks at it, pulls out like a mark and just kind of scribbles something on it.
What? They already gave me my paperwork. There's no need.
Well, just gotta, it's the paperwork. You got the papers. I gotta make sure that the papers are marked. Trust me, that's how it works. Well, I see it says temporary pass. You gotta make sure you go to the next guardhouse. It's at the next wall, inner wall. There's a guardhouse there. You get yourself the proper papers. This is temporary, good for 3 days, as per.
So there's a guardhouse in the next wall.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
The next wall? There's a guardhouse.
Yeah, that is in fact what I said. Can you move along?
Where was the guardhouse? They didn't tell me this at the last place that they detained me at. It's been such a long time since I got this information. I forgot. It's in the guardhouse. And the next, is that what you wrote down?
No, it's on the paperwork here.
What did you write down?
I just marked your papers.
Like Bernie said.
Okay, well, I'll go to the guardhouse. No need. I'll go.
And he lets go and just kind of like uses his leg to just kind of like shove you along, and he's instantly at the next person, marking their paper, starts rummaging through their stuff because your paper was marked that you had already kind of been through
Like the line at Disneyland.
customs. Before you find yourself in the once familiar streets of Golden Spires.
What street am I on? What's the main street that I just walked in on?
You're
Is there a map?
more.
Do I know?
Say
Am I
again?
familiar with this part? Am I familiar with this part of town?
You know you're in actually let me pull up the map. You're kind of in between the Craftsman's Borough and the Heath Farthing. It's on the north central side of the town. There
Okay.
is a large market area south of you. That's kind of like where a lot of the major shops and stuff are. But if you were to head due west through town, you would find yourself at where you know the next guardhouse is to get to the intersection of the city.
Okay. So it's like a series of concentric rings.
Yeah, there's only
Kinda.
two. There's the outer wall, well, really the outer wall that you kind of came in through, and then there's an inner section that has like the coin district, like some of the more proper protected merchant
Gotcha.
boroughs, more
Gotcha.
oligarchy noble folks.
Okay.
One of the first things you notice about the town is that the dirt roads are not nearly as well kept as they were as many years ago as it has been, nor are the shops and stuff as well kind of maintained. Everything looks comparably run down since you've last been here. Functional, everyone's still hustling and bustling. There's people are taking their animals right over to the different shops and they're starting to unload goods and strike deals. There's just a crazy cacophony of activity just beyond the gate, and that's just people like shuffling down into the shops that are on the streets, let alone the kind of train of people who are heading south and north around to the larger markets.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess I'm gonna kind of start working my way west towards the next guardhouse because that'll get me my more semi-permanent. Well, I guess we might not even be there for 3 days because I don't know how long my yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'll head there and I'll get that sorted out before I meet back up with my caravan because they're probably gonna try and do business there for a while.
So yeah, you
Immediately changed my mind. I'm gonna head south. To the gate where that caravan was supposed to come through.
okay.
Let me back up with my caravan. Change of mind. That's it. Locking it in. Final answer.
Are you sure? Are you sure? Because
Yeah, I am.
okay. You start making your way through the and you very quickly find yourself in a craftsman's borough. Some places of a note about you remember there's like a tavern there that's apparently built on top of like a tomb, according to legend. You remember that place. There's another one that was a converted temple on the other side of the craftsman's borough.
A lot of bars.
Other than that, there's just your collection of people working on stuff. It's where you would expect a moderate collection of goods to be at the markets. These are where all the specialty shops kind of sit.
More artisan.
Yeah, where you could expect to buy jewelry in the market. Here's where the jeweler's shop is. Like, if you catch
I get you. I get
cadence. If you wanted to buy weapons and armor, you could probably get them at the market, and there's probably a blacksmith there. But if you want the prime stuff, the prime cut, this would be the right place to go.
Okay.
And as you continue south through, you kind of pass by a section of town that's considerably dingier. It seems to be kind of nested along the inner side of the wall. And from what you remember, with the Spires being really part of the central district, the outer wall is nice and shiny and bright on the outside, but on the inside, it very seldom gets sun. It's a section of town that is almost in a perpetual shadow. It's really only like just before dusk that they get any real sunlight on that particular stretch of town, and it's where the less than savory individuals tend to hang out. Just because it's easier to blend in the dark.
As I'm walking, I take my coin pouch and I flip it inside the waistband.
Good movie.
I actually untie it and mount it right up on the breastbone. You know, you want to keep it right up here.
Yeah, right where they can shoot through it into you,
That's
wipe you out in one go.
Well, aim small, miss small. You know, small target, whatever.
Aim small, miss small. That's like a different. Anyway, so yeah, as you make your way further south, you find yourself in the market dish in the southern market on the outer ring of town.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks kind of familiar. Growing up here, my folks were merchants, and we would often, whenever we had free time, at least me and my siblings would come through and stop by the stalls that my father furnished and that that my family kind of owned and operated, and would talk to some of the merchants and just kind of gallivant and cohort. I swing by some of my familiar stalls. Is there anyone still? I mean, what time? You said it was like it's perpetually dark, but it's still kind of early afternoon-ish, late afternoon.
Oh, it's late morning, early afternoon. Very early. It's still before noon.
Because it was okay. It was bright when we woke. Okay.
Yeah. This particular market stretch, you're not as familiar with. Okay. Or if you were once familiar, enough has changed. For instance, the well looks different. It's like the dead center of the market. But you could have sworn there was a platform on it. But you know that there's like 4 other markets in the city that kind of people cloister around. So maybe you're misremembering. It's kind of hard to tell.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. Some of the shops look to be better kept than others, and you're like, hey, didn't that used to be a potter? Like, why are you now selling wooden chairs? Like, management has changed, and not to say that that's surprising to you, but it's not. It's a sign of how long it's been. And with that, we're going to pause with you. And we are going to add Bob into the mix. So give me just a second. We're going to switch over to that so we can get Bob into the mix. All right. Give me just a hot second. Trying to fix this. It's not showing up correctly. Yeah, something did happen. Why is it doing that? Why is it doing that? That's why that's doing that. Okay. Ooh, I'm gonna have to do that for each one. I just realized I made a mistake. Haha, this is what tech stuff is for. Okay. Boop. All right. So, Bob.
No.
You've been traveling for a while. Just kind of wandering like you like to do. Describe to everyone what Bob looks like, what Bob's about.
Bob is he is very let's use the word well, I don't know, cloistered's not exactly an appropriate word, but he's kind of a private guy, just out on his own, wandering amok, and wants to just enjoy hanging out with the trees and being left alone. And yeah, he's quite happy just wandering around and sleeping outside and boiling acorns and having a good time.
Okay.
Just a nice, quiet guy that doesn't really have any interest in the affairs of other people. He finds most of them to be trivial at best.
Well, Bob, after Lord only knows how long you've been traveling, really, just making your way through. And unfortunately, as travelers are wont to suffer, uh, supplies start to run low, materials start to wear out, and you have found yourself at the outer gates of what appears to be a very busy, large city.
Cool. They have socks here.
Yes, yes, they do. They do indeed have socks.
And that is what I'm in need of. I need socks.
Well, Bob, it's it's morning. You can see the
I
latest
gleefully approach the city gates.
caravans of traders and you know civilians, travelers, what have you, are making their way, and you can see that there's a distinct there seems to be a distinct pattern where the larger caravans with wagons and large amounts of livestock and other beasts are moving towards a southern entrance, whereas those who are more, people based are moving slightly further to a more northern gate.
I
However
like
you
the
decide
idea
to.
of a northern gate.
Northern gate, okay. Um,
Northern light. It's always good for painting.
I mean, golden hour, for
Well, that's later in the day.
photography, but well, golden hour is morning or night, depending on which gold you're looking for.
Traditionally, it's evening.
Anyway, so yeah, you make your way towards the northern gate. You can see that people are getting shuffled in to these various queues in order to enter the city, and there appears to be guards shuffling them into that particular avenue. There are people pulling out papers and coin and trying to talk with the guards about the different things. You see guards kind of rummaging through people's stuff, and and as you approach, you the one of the guards kind of gestures over to you to like come hither in a come hither fashion.
Okay. Cool.
Papers.
I have no papers.
All right. Well, you're gonna have to come over here. It's gonna be 3 silver. We're gonna get you your papers. They're gonna be temporary entrance papers. Are you here for business or are you here for pleasure?
I'm here for socks.
I'll put you down for business. Are you a person who trades any other goods? Do we have to, kind of looks you down. You don't seem to have a whole heck of a lot on you. Do you have any?
Unless you have a paper, Nick, there's nothing I can do for you.
As long as I don't have a what now?
A paper cut. You know what paper is.
Yes, I know what paper is. That's what I'm saying. I need. We're gonna get you papers. All right. Come on, come here. And
so do I get this three silver back when I leave? Is this like a deposit?
No. This is a payment.
This is a tax.
So it's more like an entrance fee due to the fact that you're lacking papers. I'm
coming to visit your city, and you're going to charge me money just to come in and spend my money. Well, how is that good for commerce?
Look, it's not
about business.
Hey, it's not my fault that you didn't, look up the rules of what it takes to enter the city here.
Oh yeah, where am I going to look them up? I've been out in the woods. Is there like an owl going to fly by and drop me a scroll?
Look, I just work here.
You're shaking me down for 3 silver. How am I supposed to react?
Look, if you want to be honest, if you want the brass tax on this, the 1 silver. If you had your papers, it'd only be 1 silver. You don't have your papers, so there's a processing fee. Plus, I got to file a report, and then you also have to take the papers I give you to another office in order to get yourself the proper papers that say that you're going to be able to to identify yourself and give you a proper length of stay here within the city. But that fee covers all of it, so the 3 silver, you're set.
Well, I don't know how to react to this. Maybe I should go buy my socks someplace else.
Look, if you want to keep going and trying to find a place to go buy socks, the closest next city is like a 3 days travel. looking at the weather, the rain's gonna be coming. You gotta go through the marshlands, which, if you're out of socks, that's gonna suck. Just get inside. We'll get you some socks, but it's gonna cost you 3 silver.
What if I don't have 3 silver?
Well, if you don't have 3 silver, that's gonna be problematic, in which case I'm gonna unfortunately have to, oust you. Or, if you put up a fuss, I put you in manacles, you go to jail, and then you work off your 3 silver.
Well, I let me think about this. How badly do I want new socks? Huh. I, I, I will have to admit, this whole idea of paying to enter a city is new to me. I'm not sure what to think of it.
Well, all the large cities are doing it. It's just a thing. It's a formality. It's a tax. If you had resident papers, which are different than visitor papers, residents, they don't have to pay the fee because they pay it through their taxes on the regular function. Do I have to explain how tolls work to you, sir?
Is there some place where I can buy forged copies of these papers?
All right, we need to come with me.
Just for asking?
And he puts his hand on your shoulder and just kind of like starts guiding you towards the guardhouse. And you see a half orc coming out of the guardhouse, led by a small, like 3 foot tall green fella who is kind of brushing themselves off after, with papers in hand.
I'm going to Yelp. I'm going to Yelp my review of this town.
All right, look, I'm gonna have to go through. Do you have 3 silver?
I do have 3 silver.
Okay. Are we gonna have a problem with this? Am I allowed to, do my job? I'm gonna go through your stuff, make sure you're not bringing any contraband. I'm gonna get you temporary paper.
Well, what if I have contraband? I wouldn't bring it if I knew it was contraband. What is contraband?
Look, if you have contraband, depending on the nature of the contraband, geez, does anyone not know how this works? Why is it that I get
a manual?
Everyone else here seems to have their papers, and he gestures out the door where everyone seems to be doing their thing.
Fine. If I give you 3, will you just leave me alone?
What's gonna happen? You're gonna give me the 3 silver. I'm gonna go give you a pat down. We're gonna go through your goods, make sure you're not bringing any fruits, vegetables, or invasive species, including insects. And then I'm going to fill out some papers, and you're going to take those papers. They are good for 3 days. You have to go take those papers to the next guardhouse to get a longer stay papers.
Oh, okay,
do you understand?
I will have to admit, your obsession with this pat down, your consistent reference to manacles, I'm not so sure that you're on the level with this. I think there may be some ulterior motive. You seem to be enjoying this.
I just work here. Do you think I want to be patting you down? I want to go home to my wife and children. She's making a really great roast tonight. That's what I want to go to. I work hard here to get the roast that I have with my wife.
If I wasn't paying 3 silver to get in, I'd give you a clove of garlic for that roast. But I'll sell it to you for 3 silver.
A clove of garlic? I could get a clove of garlic for I can get 3 cloves of garlic for a copper.
Not my garlic.
I'm going to ignore whatever insinuation or intonation that you've just given me.
I am telling you that my garlic is the best in the land.
Look, do you have the 3 silver or not? Are you going to give me the 3 silver?
Sure.
Okay. Takes the 3 silver and takes your bag and just kind of starts rummaging through it. And you see and the few rations that you have left, the things you foraged, he just kind of shrugs at them and shoves it all back in your bag, puts it on the table, comes over, pats you down real quick, then goes off, and you can see him filling out papers. Then he hands you your stuff. Look, I just work here. If you go and get your crap in order, then I don't have to worry about this anymore. You can get papers in advance by mail. You just have to write to this address, and he points to the back of the form. You write into this address. Almost everyone who's coming here for trade, via like the merchants or trades guilds know that this is the address you got to get your papers from. Almost everyone here is bringing in stuff to trade or they're residents. If they're visitors, a lot of them have to go through the same rigmarole as you, unless they've been here before and already got the papers.
Well, at least I'm being treated like everybody else.
You are not special.
Well, I think I am.
So here's your papers. Go take your papers. One of the guys up there is going to mark them and let them through.
Well, okay. I have my papers.
No sooner do you walk out the door, there's like a guy who's, oh, papers. Make sure you take these. These are temporary papers. Make sure you take them through the guardhouse at the next wall. You can't miss it. Head due west. It's one of the only close ways to getting into the inner district. You can get your papers handled there.
Okay. I'm not really paying attention. I'm just kind of wandering through the experience.
As you continue on beyond the gate, you can kind of see where almost everyone who's made it through kind of starts either heading west further down where you suspect that other gate is, or kind of dispersing slightly to the north or slightly to the south through the different side streets.
There are no trees here.
No, there is a distinct lack of trees. If anything, once you went in beyond the gate, there is almost no greenery. The only occasional like window box or small fern by someone's shop or sitting on a stall counter.
There's no life in this city. I don't like it.
No. In fact, if you try to look back through the gate from whence you came, you don't see much. There's too many people, and you can kind of see way off in the distance the reflection of some of that green.
I'm gonna have to get out of here. Okay. I gotta find the merchant shops. I gotta get out of this place.
All right. Which way do you head? North, south?
Well, I came in the north gate, so I may as well head south away from the gate towards the interior of the city.
All right. Okay. You as you make your way through, heading south, you kind of sort of see where there's different shops, different collections of taverns, people kind of walking in and out, just kind of going about their business. It took a little while to get through customs, and so it's approaching midday, late morning, early afternoon to midday. That kind of say like 11 o'clock. And people are bustling about. You can see that a lot of the food vendors are starting to go into full swing, trying to hawk all sorts of different breads, pastries, different random meat dishes at their stands. Some of them are get your fresh stuff here, get your fresh sausages, get your fresh got a steak sausage, got pork sausage, got poultry sausage, got mixed meat sausage if that's to your liking.
I'm guessing they have like grilled crickets and things of that nature as well.
They have all sorts. You see a spot where they appear to be some seasoned baked insects of all kinds. Only a few that you recognize. Other ones are surprisingly large for what you've mostly experienced out in the wild that wasn't trying to eat you.
Okay. All right. So I will proceed to wander around in this little area. Wait till later to grab a bite to eat. Let's see. I'm looking for a shop that does specifically woven wool, because I found that wool socks are good for dryness and they last a long time.
As you continue your way south,
Preferably cashmere.
Preferably cashmere, did you just say?
Yeah.
Hashtag ad.
Hashtag not sponsored. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this stream is brought to you by Cashmere Socks. No.
The finest of socks, you will find it here.
as you head through the edge of the Craftsman's Burrow and kind of the flank of the Rogue's Farthing, under the shadow of the wall, place that seems to have very little sunlight. Of the places that have life, you'd expect the least to be there within the city. And you see a couple of clothiers, but you can tell that they are tailoring towards the fancier crowd. Much of their goods appear to have lots of like embroidering and other extra fanciful art added onto them. And instead of like proper socks, like you're looking for, you're seeing more things like stockings or light socks to kind of more for fashion than they are for function. And
Well, we're looking for function, so we shall continue our quest.
And as you continue to head southerly, you do have some shady individuals who just kind of come up as you walk by and like, do you want to buy some fancy tinkers? We got ourselves this one here is a timekeeper. We got this one here supposed to be able to tell you. Yes, golden sundials. This one being the timekeeper. This one I forget what this one does, but it's good. I'll give it to you at a discount. We got the. Oh, here. I bet you'd like this one. This one right here. See, this one predicts the weather, and I say predicts. It's got like 80% accuracy. You know, it uses something in the air that apparently as it changes, you can know the weather's coming.
I'm just walking away from this guy. I don't
he was an outdoorsy folk too. You'd think he would be all sorts into this thing. All right. So yeah, you continue south into what is a very busy market.
Cool.
Seeing as lunch is now approaching, and
okay.
There you see.
Is there some place that has coffee available? That exotic drink from the
Ho
south?
ho. Well, give me a perception check.
Let's see. Perception. All right, let me find my perception. No, that's not it. Oh, dang it! I know where this is. Where is it? Come on, buddy. Give it to me. Oh. Man. All right. This may take a moment. Where in the heck is my perception? I'm looking at the wrong place on here. Sorry, I'm a moron. Dang it. All right, Doug, you're going to have to help the idiot here. Oh, there it is.
You got it.
Okay, +4. All right, we're going to do... All right, and I need that right there, and I'm going to roll that right there, and I'm gonna hit this button, and then maybe it'll do something. Oh, come on. You're supposed to be working with me, buddy, here.
Hey, there it is.
There we go.
It's rolling.
That's a whole 10 because I have a +4 on my perception.
Unfortunately, there are so many different smells, and you see people like carrying different foods and other beverages and things kind of going to and fro, plus the animals and the people just kind of moving through. There's no good, easy way for you to pinpoint a coffee shop. Not to say that there isn't one, but finding one right now is just not happening. It's going to take a little longer than just a quick laser in.
All right. Well, let's just walk around, and we're looking for socks and coffee right now.
All right. We're gonna switch back over to Renningham.
Cool.
Rin, you've been in this market now for a little over an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And you're kind of hoping and waiting to see if your former travel companions were going to meet back up with you here after they came through where the rest of the merchants were going through. And knowing that this is the market on this side of town, you'd think that this would be the place to meet.
Violin slowly playing in the background. Looks like it's going to start raining. So I'm looking around. So I know that the caravan was empty. We had empty boxes, so I assume that they came in to buy something, as caravans do, and then sell somewhere else for more money. Is there? Can I start? I want to start asking around some of the merchant booths, some of the shops,
Okay.
and see if there's anybody that sells like wholesale goods instead of just.
Oh, you're looking like more like a general store as opposed to any of the.
Yeah, well, and that sell them in like big quantities, because like I'm looking for where my merchant cart may have gone.
Oh, so you're looking
pick
for
up
like
a
your Costco
shipment
and
of
Sam's
goods.
Club. All right.
Yeah.
Hashtag not sponsored.
I wish.
You give me a. I'm trying to think. There's a relevant check. I don't think that would actually fit in with this.
Animal handling.
Give me a. Closest one I guess we can do is give me a history check.
Be 14, Bob. Or not Bob. Sorry, Bob. Sorry, no, it's 14.
You think about it and you go, well, the market on the eastern side of the city isn't going to be that. You're likely to get your larger sets of goods back in the craftsman borough, back where you kind of had come through for any specialty goods. Everything else is further west, where a lot of the manufacturing or other collections of the merchants guilds tend to kind of sit. If not going all the way into the inner district, where some of the swankier people even live and run their shops from in there.
Yeah, so my caravan wasn't necessarily a swanky caravan. I'm gonna head west then towards the manufacturing district, because hopefully my caravan went there to try and get a large shipment of terracotta teapots. I don't know. Some people manufacture. I don't know.
Okay, so you're going to keep searching for your caravan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. As you head further west,
Mm-hmm.
you find yourself against that inner wall, that inner district, and what used to be like something that was kind of decorated and well manned, just really for the sake of showing off, not so much anymore. If anything, there are now like lots of empty carts or people loading up carts kind of like tucked along the wall. You can see people trying to steer their workhorses backwards in order to hook them up to the different carts and get new caravans of goods started up. None of these caravans look familiar. None of these wagon trains are anything that you properly recognize. But as you head further in, you see in one of the larger crossings of this particular district a familiar stone dragon. It's a colossal, petrified dragon that stands and towers kind of over the streets. And what was once a nice, shiny, polished, you can see that time has weathered it. There's now like a bit of funk kind of growing in the seams of this colossal dragon that once was kind of like a jewel for this particular district. The Golden Scepter district no longer appears so golden.
Less gold and more scepter.
Yeah. In fact, even the abbey that is kind of across the way, it's a large stone building decorated with holy symbols that used to shine with the different metals. Your bronze would shine bright, your silvers and golds. They're tarnished. You can still see there's activity inside, but it's not the same vibrancy that you would expect something like that closer to the gates, but this far in, it's just not what it used to be.
So the stone dragon is giant. It's crouched over like you said, like a city square, or like kind of like a clearing.
Yeah,
area?
so it kind of perches on the edge of one of the buildings and kind of has its wings swooped out to kind of cover part of the square. It's done so in a way that, like, if it were raining, there's only a couple of foot span where you wouldn't get rained on, because its wings are kind of swooping around. Like the center of the square would still kind of have stuff come down.
Okay. What's the building that it's perched on?
It's a smithy. Now.
Now it's a smithy. It wasn't always a smithy.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
So
you can hear the clanging of metal.
Yeah, I'm gonna head into that smithy. Smiths make things that people want. Probably.
Usually. You step inside, and it's a rather nice shop on the inside compared to what it looks like on the outside. The stone being kind of worn and dark. Where on the inside, despite having a large furnace and smithing station kind of set up, it's relatively clean. The floor has a halfway decent shine to it. The counter, the sales counters are all wiped down pretty well. And you can see a surprisingly lithe looking female human is just banging away on what appears to be a large broadsword.
Lithe, you say? Female, you say? Banging, you say?
Thank you, Stuart. Thank you.
Okay, anyway,
I heard what you did there.
I see what you're doing.
I'm a bard. I gotta play to my strengths, or play to the crowd anyway. I'm not your average bard. Anyway, so I'm gonna use my prestidigitation to make kind of like a big, almost, well, not like a big bang, but like when people go in and ring the bell.
Oh, like
to get the attention of the yeah.
All right, and as you do, she kind of looks up, and
I'm shorter than the counter. So as that happens, I look around. Is there any like crate or a stool or something I could stand on?
There's one in the corner, but it's got a bunch of like, well, I guess to you they'd be a longsword. It's got a bunch of like, not gonna say more cheaply made, but more generic, regular, less ornate blades kind of in it. But as you turn back to look up, there she is looking down at you.
Oh, I didn't know if you had heard me. Hello, I'm looking for lots of things to buy, lots and lots of things, and wondering if anyone else was coming by looking for lots of things.
Well, if you have lots of things to buy, I assume you have lots of money from which to buy it.
Well, I don't specifically, but I know a guy.
That's super helpful, and by super helpful, I mean not. I'm kind of busy trying to fulfill an order here, so if you aren't here to make a purchase, I do need to get back to work.
Is it an order? Is it a big order?
It's a... What can I help you with?
I'm looking for some friends of mine that I seem to have misplaced. There was a caravan that came through the south gate, and assuming that they were looking for goods to buy, I remember this as a different building, but it seems to be that a smithy of repute, a smithy that was doing really well for themselves would be holed up in this building, and so I thought I would stop in and make sure, see if my caravan stopped by here.
No, I have. I've. It's been a very busy morning. There's been lots of people, but no caravans. Sorry. Do you wish to buy anything?
Well, I'd like to buy directions to someone who actually sells things
I do.
in large quantities. I'm looking for big shipments
Of what?
of goods and not services. Don't think that we dealt with services very much, but goods, things, stuff.
If you're looking for assorted trade goods, if you continue further, maybe you might. I don't. That's not what I normally. I don't.
Is,
What?
are you the only one here?
The shop. Well, I'm owner, but the owner. It's a thing. They're here, kind of. But why? They're not
I,
very friendly.
they're not friendly. Well, I've been told I can make a friend out of almost anyone. Are they upstairs, downstairs?
I'll go get them so that I can get back to work.
Oh, I'll come with you.
No, you're going to stay here. And she
And as I'm
just kind of.
I look, I'm looking around for like a way to get around the bar and then like or around the countertop, and there's no like one of those swing tops. There's like a gate off to the side or like a door off to the side, and I'm like, well, there's no way for me to get over this counter. There doesn't seem to be very accessible.
You see her kind of like walk around, and then a section of stone that was kind of obfuscated by the height of the counter. You can now see where she's walking up some stone stairs that kind of blended into the wall from your standpoint, and you hear murmurs, you hear some vocal commotion, and then she comes back down and just doesn't even look back over the counter at you, goes back to the forge and just continues to get at it and just keeps hammering away. It's a couple minutes later before you see a tiny goblin male. Looks to be definitely older. Kind of dark gray and mixed in with the black of his hair as he's starting to show some of his age, and wide toothy grin.
What can I do you for?
Well, as I was trying to explain to the young maiden,
You want to make a large order?
well, I know people that like to make large orders, and I thought that I would be able to find those people here, but it doesn't seem that I can, that they were through here, and I was
What
wondering
kind
where
of large
someone...
orders?
Well, it could be anything. I'm not particularly sure of what kind of orders they would make, but, goods and goods, things people want to buy. Where would someone go to buy things that people want to buy?
Well, they go to the places to buy them. If
And
you
that's
want
what I'm trying to find out. Is
swords,
this a place where people buy things?
swords, armor, they come here. We make the finest. She makes the finest. We make the finest.
We, middle management.
But
How can I get...
orders are confidential, especially to foreigners like you.
Foreigners, I was here before you.
Doubtful. Then you'd know where to buy the things.
Well, things have... That makes no sense. Things have changed around here, honestly. This building used to be a...
Look, as the lady said before, if you're not here to buy anything, we're done with business. If you're not here to make a large order, but you know people who can make a large order, send the people who make the large orders my way. Until then, fuck off.
Okay. I don't think there's any way for me to get. I can't go anywhere with this guy. Large orders, the smithy. Where do you source your metal from?
We, here, get the finest from the mines on the West Mountain.
And who brings that
What
metal in?
we reject goes to the coin district.
The coin district. Okay.
There are ore merchants to the west. They serve it right out of the mines. We do the whole process here, the smelting, the refining. It's why we make the finest things in this part of the city.
Who makes the less than finest things? Like
That would
middle of
be
the
up in
road things.
The Craftsman's Borough to the north.
Okay.
Now, if you're looking for
Back north.
other random trade goods, you're in one district that sells goods. There's another district that sells goods. There's another district that way that sells good. Hell, go straight north through the Nobles district and they'll sell goods there. You're in a trade hub. For someone who says you know where you are, you don't seem to know where you are.
I'm dehydrated. It's been a long day. I woke up. I was abruptly awoken. I'm just.
Well, if you go back east to the market, there's a well. Get yourself a drink. Otherwise, find a tavern and buy yourself a drink.
And with that, he just kind of shuffles off the counter, and you can kind of hear him step off. And
As he's walking up the stairs, I'm going to use Mage Hand to try and trip him. Just like catch his foot, like make him think that he caught his foot on one of the stairs.
okay,
Just a mean goblin.
Mean goblin.
You mean. And as I'm walking out, like I'm casting it, directing it, and then I'm just gonna walk out, and he's gonna, I'm gonna hear
Yep.
the.
See how much force can that do? It can go out 30
it can
feet.
hold 10 pounds.
10 pounds.
Carry 10 pounds. That's enough to
Yeah.
trip somebody. I mean, if I kick
That's-
a dumbbell as I was walking.
Yeah. As he's getting off the counter, and you kind of turn and just kind of wistfully cast, you hear, instead of a deft like a feet landing on the floor,
I just keep walking.
And then you
turn
hear a-
around.
"Hey, keep working," and you hear him
He tries to
shuffle
cover it
off.
up. Classic. Okay, yeah. So, I guess we're going west because your boy I am thirsty. It's been a long day already. I've been south, nothing there. I went west because I thought, hey, maybe there's some stuff people buy, like big shipments, warehouse size things. Didn't help.
All right.
So west for water.
And as you head west, we are going to bring Pen into this. So give me just a second. We're gonna go grab the next character. Da 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 da. Come on. Is she here? Is she in? Can she hear us? Hello. Pen, are you with us?
Yes,
All right.
I think so. I think we're present.
There we go. Pen. you've been in the city now for a couple of days. You've had time to wander and find different things, and you've settled out your paperwork from coming in. Describe yourself to the rest of the world.
Uh,
What do you look like?
yeah, I don't remember. Please, yeah. I got horns. I got a tail. I got some teeth, kind of sharp. I got some tricks up my sleeve.
Okay. Okay. So you found your easiest place of lodging to be in what you've determined is the rogues farthing. They seem to have, not the comfiest of beds, but they're definitely cheap. Not the tasty of meals, but you know, don't cost a hefty dime. Keeps you alive. It's quiet. Sure there's people, but they kind of keep to themselves.
And boy, if that isn't something I'm plenty enjoy. Yes, you go about your business and you leave me to my own. Thank you.
What where are it's, early to mid morning. What's on Penn's mind? What's Penn after? Penn's been here a couple days.
I think I would like to see the grandest cemetery in the area.
The grandest
To see how busy it is.
cemetery. In the few days you've been meandering around, you've mostly been able to scout out the outer districts, and at least on the outer side, there's been a couple that sure, there's some spots by the wall where you can tell they've kind of haphazardly put some tombstones and some memorial slabs of sorts to honor some people. No real mausoleums or proper tombs. You did hear about a bar that was rumored to be built on top of a tomb, but none of your exploration, found anything of particular note.
What a loss. Nothing but stones again.
Now, the inner district, the nobles, they might be onto something. They got money. They might have something swanky. But otherwise, it's not going to be something that you can say that you've readily found in your short time here so far.
I have to keep wandering and maybe find the right person to ask. Let's see if we can find a crime somewhere.
What kind of crimes are you looking for? You've had a good amount of wandering to kind of
Ones where maybe half of the parties involved didn't get back up again.
So you've been sleeping in the district where oftentimes people go there and, seem to be well-dressed folks, really. Seem to be kind of buddy-buddy with some clad in less notable garb, with them. And then they both go into a tavern, but only one comes out. Strangely enough, with a new pair of pants and sometimes a new pair of shoes.
Interesting.
Otherwise, the only times you've seen parties get their numbers shrunk are altercations with the local lawsmen, the local lawkeepers, and when trade deals go obnoxiously south. And you've only seen like 2 of those happen, and one of the deaths was definitely accidental. Spooked a horse, kicked a guy in the head, he didn't get up, kind of deal.
Probably still had some working legs on them.
I mean, yes, I imagine a head wound would have a minimal negative impact on one's legs. Yes.
What a useful maid they would have been.
So, Pen, if you're gonna go look for trouble, gotta go find people, really. You know you're just north of a market. You know if you continue around, looping around the city, you'll find yourself at you know, some manufactories and some other shops that may have some accidental maimings, perhaps. You know, you never know what could happen if the wrong amount of material got pushed through a you know, a machine.
Well,
Surreptitiously.
probably should make trails then and go to where the people are.
So Pen as a tiefling, so far you haven't really noticed many others like you in town. You've managed to only kind of see like 1 or 2 in passing when you were entering the city, and they picked a different direction from you, and you'd think having horns on your head would you know, help you stand out, but rather the only things you see are you know, orc guards or orc business and shop, you know, business owners and shopkeepers that have tusks rather than horns. And as you continue through the city, you kind of find yourself at a market. There's a bit of a hustle and bustle. There's some animals moving around. Some kids trying to play chase, and mothers screaming after them to like watch themselves, or they'll trip or fall, or hey, don't run with scissors. But nothing yet that stands out in terms of oh hey, dead.
Well, it can't hurt to get the lay of the land a little bit if I have to mingle amongst the commoners to find what I need.
What is Pen wearing?
Pen has a hooded cloak that kind of trails along the ground to sort of hide his tail. Not totally, but every once in a while it could be hidden by the very end of it. And, you know, to try and blend in occasionally, he'll keep the hood up so that his horns aren't always that super obnoxious. But he tends to just wear, you know, autumn colors, neutral colors, earthy tones, blend in with the scenery.
If you
Except
were
the
to
fact that his horns are gold and they sparkle. So as soon as the sun hits those babies, and suddenly everybody's taking a peek.
He was like shining. You say, you know, amongst the commoners. What quality robes would you say you have there, Pen?
Middle of the way. They're not the fanciest. They're not posing any enchantments on them, but they were certainly hand sewn by someone who was skilled in their craft.
Okay, okay. So not, what the average commoner might wear, but not much above that. So you kind of meander through town in your robes and your shining horns and the occasional flicking out of your tail. And it doesn't take long to kind of notice that people give you a bit of berth as you kind of walk along the streets. They don't seem to mind bumping into each other, but you get some interesting glances as they kind of pass by and ensure that they give, an extra couple of feet on either side as they go around.
Useful. I
people
keep the
giving-
pickpockets away.
There's people giving birth in the streets.
Not for long.
What?
I joined one of those parties that likes veal.
He said people are giving birth.
I didn't realize I was running an evil campaign, but if that's what we're doing here.
I am not a necromancer. Get that out of your mind.
It might just be the moment of opportunity here. Where you don't seize the opportunities as they arise.
As you walk through the streets, you do not see anyone actually giving birth in the streets. So that's,
Goodness. That would be a bit much.
You said birth. I just
yeah, BERTH.
birth.
No, that's bear with a lisp.
I'm sorry. Penn needs to go to the store and buy some malt immediately.
Some malt.
Get Penn a glass of milk.
All right, if Penn is looking for mulk, give me a perception check.
Sheep, where are you? Perception. It's down by the peas.
That is
It's kinda-
usually
it's
how they
kinda
are
hidden
ordered,
in there.
alphabetically.
Look for it.
Alphabetically.
Can you see those, or do I have to report them?
Let me pull up that.
Is it 14?
Yes, I see it. Okay. I'm realizing that for this, I'm gonna need a third monitor. I don't have enough. Yeah, I don't have enough screen real estate to handle.
Hey, if
Look,
you're willing to use a bunch of adapters, let me tell you how many monitors I have access to that nobody can use anymore.
Thousands.
put a pin in that. We'll come back to it. So you're 14 as you traverse.
I'm 14. Oh.
Yeah, perception. You do get the distinct sounds and smells of traveling livestock. They appear to have entered the market that you're at from a slightly more northern route. You kind of came just from the east, and they appear to be taking a good collection of them. South and east, or south and west. Sorry, south and west. Deeper in. To a section that you knew kind of had more of the more manufacturing type stuff. There was blacksmiths, there were textile mills, there were not so much jewelers, but more like gem workers, where they're doing more of the gem cutting and stuff to pass on to the jewelers who set them into rings and other accessories. As well as other like furniture making and things like that.
As this caravan of animals is, I suspected, herded or corralled to wherever they're going.
Yeah, it appears to be a large half orc kind of leading the way, and then alongside about 20-25 feet or so behind, there appear to be some human males wearing very tattered sackcloth-like clothes, but they have small switches that they keep using to like kind of bat at the feet of the cattle to kind of keep them moving in a row and keep them moving along and not straying too far. Occasionally, they have to run up and kind of whack one back into place. And every so often the half orc has to look back and like, you do what you're supposed to do. All right, come on, we got to get these down to the butcher. Got to get these processed.
Poor cows.
Mm.
Oh, dude, I wonder if Pen's a vegetarian.
You have a bovine soundboard.
If only.
Mm-hmm.
So, Pen, what are you doing?
Pen is going to pat his chest comfortingly as a flurry of concerned movement occurs beneath his robes and shuffle away from any potentially prying eyes of the meat market.
Okay. You're not really in the meat market yet. You can just kind of see that they're heading west. Are you going to kind of follow along in towards where you think the meat market's going?
No, I'm just watching the animals sadly pass by.
Okay. Otherwise, you're kind of just in the market still. Just kind of looking around.
Meandering, observing people, learning to lay the land. Trying to see if anybody's disappearing.
Give
But they're
me
not.
an investigation check.
Uh, 8.
Okay. Now, as far as you can see, everyone that you kind of spot around the market, you know, they'll go into a shop. A couple minutes later, they'll come back out. There's no, at least around here, there doesn't seem to be any sketchy back alleyways. At least not that people are disappearing into and then only one of them coming back out. This market seems to be kind of on the up and up. Being on this side of the city, although it's close to where you spent the night for cheap and in a sketchy bed, this market appears to be trafficked well enough that the less than savory types don't have as much to work with, or if they do, it's more thieving than it is, stabbing in an alleyway. We're going to pause with you and head back to Bob. Bob.
Sorry.
You've been searching for a place
Coffee!
to buy coffee. Give me an investigation check.
Okay. Investigate. Oh, there we are. Okay, it's a +1. So we take our 20. We roll our 20. Bam. That's an 11.
You spent enough time kind of meandering about this particular market, and you've kind of made your way slightly further and further out. And you find a tavern that happens to have a particularly distinct, familiar odor.
Odor or aroma?
Depends on who you ask. I know some people who definitely think coffee has an odor as opposed to an aroma. It's definitely not the finest smelling coffee.
So we're not talking Arabica here, are we?
No, but you definitely feel that you can get some cup of joe here.
Looking to get jacked up here, man. Where's my caffeine?
Oh, you're you need a triple? You need some you need 9 shots?
Yeah, baby.
You got a nap to take in 15 minutes. Is that what's going on here?
Yeah.
And you find yourself in a tavern that is rather busy. And there are a large collection of gnomes just kind of buzzing about, going over to people's tables, cleaning off plates, basically taking plates out of people's hands as they finish like the last morsel and scattering off back behind the counter. Other ones are coming back out with more food, putting it at the different places. Some of them are going off and pouring various colored drinks, all coming from different vats that all appear to be either steeping or some appear to have a weird mechanism that's kind of churning next to it, and you watch as they come out like frothy, and you can see them. They're not using hot mitts, but they are kind of keep from touching it, and as it sets down, you can see condensation forming on the sides of the glasses as these drinks appear to be cold.
They're tinker gnomes.
That appear to be running a very busy restaurant of sorts, tavern, restaurant.
I'm going to take my chance on the tinker gnomes. Either they're going to blow me up or they're going to give me a good cup of joe. It's one or the other. Let's go see what they got.
What can I do you for? Hello, sir.
I need some Java there. I need some coffee.
Coffee
in a cup.
Okay, coffee in a cup. You want it hot? Hot coffee in a cup.
Hot coffee in a cup. Yeah.
All right, guys, we need one large cup of Joe. Do you want anything in that? Do you want cream? Do you want sugar? Do you want
sugar?
We got that.
One sugar, two honey.
One sugar, two honey. Honey in your coffee. Oh, you're one of those weirdos. What are you?
Hey! Easy now.
Kind of looks you up and down. You know, it's bright bug eyes. You know, he's got like a slight pinkish skin, bright white hair, bug eyed.
So, you're one of them outdoorsy folks, are you? And all right, we'll be right back. Let's go.
And he kind of just runs off. And a couple minutes later, a different gnome kind of shows up. With a cup in hand.
You wanted a coffee, sugar, honey. That'll be what was the total? Six copper.
I got you 6 copper. I got you 6 copper here. You like your
All
copper?
right.
I got you copper.
Give me.
Here you go.
Look, I got stuff. Okay, thank you. Here you go. No free refills.
And he just kind of off he goes, and you see as he shoves the coin into his pocket, he goes to another table and just starts like wiping parts of it down. Like people are still sitting there, and he's like lifting up the glass, wiping down part of the table, putting the glass back down. And most people seem to just accept it. They're not really minding. A couple people give them odd looks, or like will pick up the drink immediately after it's been put back down. Like, what the hell? But
they've been dipping into the product, haven't they? That always
there's
profits.
Easily 15 or 16 gnomes scurrying about and only serving like 12 people. Like they're just like, but as people are coming in and people are coming out, no one seems to have to wait, more than a few moments to get their beverages. And you found yourself it's not the best coffee you've ever had. It's not the worst coffee you've ever had.
It'll do. It'll work. Hey, I'm not picky. I have been out traipsing in the wilderness. I don't care.
On a scale of like backwater gas station to like a halfway decent gas station to, I don't know if your favorite coffee shop is, whether it's like Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks or Eat for Your Own Mainstream or anything like that. It's kind of like, say again?
It's my kitchen.
Your kitchen?
I
Your
make
kitchen being the best coffee?
Well,
it's
not
like
necessarily the best. It's my favorite.
Oh, well. All right. I'm trying to give you a scale here. It's about middle of the road. Scratches the itch. Gives you the kick. Yeah, there you go. You found yourselves a cup of coffee.
And I go sit down at a table and slowly slurp upon this delicious little elixir of caffeine delivery system and watch the scene as these crazy little gnomes drive everyone to the brink of their sanity.
You too kind of fall victim to the whole, they come over to your table, you haven't even set your cup down, and they're like wiping it down. It's already a clean table. They kind of wipe the seats right next to you, just kind of doing the thing. And It's immaculate. The whole place is completely, pristine.
My expectations for the caffeine content are remarkably high now.
They are gnomes. They kind of come with a natural caffeine content.
Okay.
Every so often you hear a loud like pop and a hiss, and you see like a couple of gnomes scramble up the giant vats behind the bar and like tighten up a pipe or like turn a valve, and you watch as the pressure changes, and one of them's like, you know, in gnomish, like I don't know if you even speak gnomish. I don't think you do.
That's a good question.
If
I
you
do
do,
not.
then okay. So you hear them like talking to each other in what sounds to you to be gibberish, but very clearly like one of them will immediately like turn the valve, and the other one's like opening it up the thing and like pouring like 6 cups in quick succession, and you can see that they can then turn the dial back up, and it's they have it down to a science, but it's a chaotic science. You can see why it takes so many of them to kind of keep this place running smooth. And with that, we are going to jump across town to where Theo and Chlor are currently starting their day at the tavern that they've been staying at on the north side of the city. So give me just a second. We're going to go add our last 2 players in. Let's go, gamers. Boop, boop. Hello, can you guys hear us? Hear me? We good? Alright, cool. Boop. Oh, help if I click that.
You can't
Hey,
tell
there
me
we
not
go.
to worry. I will worry if I choose to do so.
Fine. Just keep worrying.
Perpetual
So
state of life.
Theo and Chlor. You also have been in town for a couple of days. It's been a nice couple of days. After several weeks of traveling through the mountains and then through some marshes and having to go through customs, and Theo, you kind of anticipated this, knowing like more about the city being about trade, so you kind of had some money set aside. You didn't have papers per se, but you kind of knew that was going to be a thing. However, Chlor, you were not as well informed, and it was not the most pleasant experience to have your stuff rummaged through and have a pat down, but you got through it. You're all right. And
Luckily, not much stuff to rummage through.
that's fair. What was I gonna say? The tavern you've been staying in, however, has definitely kept you guys entertained, as it appears to be run by an ever-changing family of tabaxi.
Oh, I love it already.
Every morning when you've come down and ordered your inexpensive breakfast, you give your order to one tabaxi. One person's meal comes from another one. Another person's meal comes from another one. A different tabaxi comes and checks to see how you guys are doing. Every time you've gone to the bar to order another drink or get another round, or get some more food or anything else, someone different. You have not, as far as you can tell, you have not seen the same tabaxi twice in the several days you've spent here. You see them go and turn down the different rooms as they stop being rented, and again, it's a different one every single time. And they all seem to kind of just talk to each other in different hushes. You almost can't make out the things that they're kind of saying to each other as they just kind of whisper. But then when they come to you, they are much more articulate and very, hello, what can I help you with? Is everything fine? Is your food to your preference? Is bedroom good? Yes, good. Yes, you fine. Okay. And then off they go, and they just kind of They slow down literally just long enough to have a conversation with you before they're back off, and not as haptically, as or haphazard as you would expect, like a bunch of gnomes running a coffee shop would be, but with the, natural agility and dexterity that cat folk would have. So, Theo and Clore, it's morning, and what are you guys doing? What's going on? Describe yourselves and what's going on this morning.
Okay. So Theo, small human in a big city for the first time ever in his life, has been here for a couple of days by now. He's wearing his nicest shirt, which really isn't that different than his work shirt from back on the farm. It's just slightly less worn out looking. Plain white linen, and his work pants and his worn old boots as usual. But he's taken the time to make sure that he looks presentable, and by that he means that he's taking care of his personal hygiene needs in the morning. His hair is nicely combed. He's prepared to continue. First of all, his tour of the city. I mean, he's curious about this big city. He's heard stories about it before, but never visited it before himself. And his traveling companion, Clore, didn't seem to know too much about it either. So everything is new for him. He's still wandering around all wide-eyed and in awe, as much as he'd like to just stay in this tavern and watch the cat folk all day if he could as well. He's left his bow and his pack behind in his room, carrying with him his coin purse and his papers, just in case he needs them, that temporary travel pass. And Theo, who's a very nondescript looking human, brown hair, brown eyes, very average, is just waiting for a chance to cut in and find the right person to ask about how he might go about trying to find out more information about any adventuring guilds or parties looking for potential adventuring partners around the area. He figures he's been here a couple days, might be time to start knuckling down and getting to work.
All right. And how about Clore?
Yeah, so sitting across from Theo is a larger in stature hobgoblin, deep blood red skin, but surprisingly emaciated from lack of food. Um, Bystanders might wonder, first of all, not seeing hobgoblins around a lot, take notice of them and kind of wonder, like, why he's so little, lacking in musculature. Kind of always keeps a hood over his head, long black hair down the sides that you can kind of see the tips of the hair coming out of the hood. Wild, wild kind of eyes looking around always, but if you notice, if you look close enough, might notice that his eyes are moving so fast that you wonder how he can see anything. What's he looking for? What's he looking at? Just kind of glancing around all the time. Although there's a lot going on above the neck, below the neck, very still, very calm. Does a very good job of portraying relaxation. Very comfortable with his new companion, Thor, sitting across the table from him, constantly talking and amazed at the wonders around him. Just almost comfortable to allow Theo to, control the situation and take up the perspective of everybody around him. Over the past couple of days with Theo, he's, found this kind of travel companion that they just happen to be traveling in the same direction with, and has become comfortable, not having a lot of contact. And Theo has become somebody who's not afraid to just speak and talk and want to find out things. So he's using that to his advantage. And worn down boots, old, ratted up leather armor, um, has a spear that he always has out in his hand, but uses it as a kind of like a staff, like a walking stick, to kind of give off the perception that he's kind of vulnerable and not really dangerous. Yeah, just sipping on a brew. Upon entering the city, without Theo's knowledge, kind of took his last silver coin that he has to his name. So he has been politely accepting Theo's grand gesture of buying him drinks and food with the promise of adventure and money making on the way.
All right. Clore, give me a perception check as you are constantly your eyes flitting about the room.
Yeah, so he's just, who's looking at me, who might be doing something shady, who should I look out for? So perception check. We have a natural 2 for a 3. Solid start.
There's a lot of people. There's just a lot of people. This is more people than you have ever been around in your whole life. The village you're from was not, hugely populated by any means. It was enough to kind of keep things moving along and keep the town from, crumbling into nothing. But it's a lot. And one of the things that surprises you the most is that people just kind of glance, shrug, and ignore you. Whereas, even growing up in, where everywhere that you, everyone you interacted with, everyone already knew each other up until now. Where here,
Yeah,
people don't know you and they don't care.
So, trying to hide his heart rate, looks at Theo and just calmly says, "So, what's the plan for today?"
And Theo looks over at Clore, and they have gotten comfortable with each other over the past time that they've been traveling together, the past couple of weeks, and sharing a room over the past couple of days, all that sort of stuff. So Theo is kind of cannily not mentioning anything he may or may not have noticed about any sort of like behavior here, but he just kind of rubs the back of his neck and he says, "Well, I was thinking, we've been here a couple days, right? And I think we got a pretty good grasp on the town so far with the wandering around that we had. I thought maybe it might be time for us to try to start looking into to whether or not there's any jobs available. Now, again, when traveling with you, only known you for a couple of weeks, I'm not quite sure exactly what you're looking for in terms of employment or your capabilities, but me, I'm pretty sturdy. I got broad shoulders. I'm good at lifting, and I ain't afraid to get my hands dirty in terms of getting work done. I thought maybe we could head towards one of the other districts, Merchant District, perhaps, or maybe even more towards the front of the city, perhaps, and look around and see if anyone is looking to hire a couple of strapping individuals for some work. Got to get a name out there, right?
Well, I don't know if I need my name out there, but I definitely could use the coin. So, if you think that's best, then I'll let you take the lead and let's go find ourselves some coin.
All right, I will drink to that. And Theo's gonna raise his glass and he's gonna clink it with Clore's. And gonna finish up
Breakfast
his,
beers.
breakfast for the day.
I support this endeavor.
Heck
Always.
yeah.
Can't drink all day
Heck
if you
yeah.
don't start in the morning.
That
Those
sounds.
are words to live by.
Those are some interesting words to live by. So in the time that you've explored around, you did find that there is a large half-timbered building The layout seems to be where it was once an inn. It contains a large meeting hall and several other smaller rooms, and it appears to be converted into like a meeting space for several of the local trades guilds. So it is a guild hall of sorts, but it's not one that's necessarily dedicated. It seems to be more of just like a hangout. Like there's, hey, this room is reserved right now by the some of the more prominent smiths, and some of these guys are, hey, these ones are more of the fur traders and merchants, and they kind of, hang out and meet here. There doesn't seem to be any sort of schedule posted anywhere as to who's reserving what rooms and when. But to find yourself an adventurers guild, from what you've seen, it might not be a terrible place to start, at least in terms of poking around and asking questions.
Okay. And what area of town is that located in?
You are currently in the Chargers ward on the north side of town. So on the northern gate, when you guys entered, instead of heading south like everyone else did towards different marketplaces, or just kind of meandering, you guys went north, found a place to stay, and then did your some of the exploration that you've done since then.
So, walking in this place, can I look around and see if I see somebody who's kind of standing off to the side, watching the people walk in and kind of like assessing them, like somebody who might be looking somebody up and down to see if they can do a job or have some work done?
There's less that, and so you walk in, and there is a where the bar once was, definitely appears to be more set up to be like a clerk style desk. There's an individual there who seems to be greeting the different people, and it's like, oh yeah, no, you guys are down in the back room on the left. Seems to recognize pretty much everyone who's coming in, and knows basically which parties they belong with, and kind of where to direct them for whatever meeting that they're expected to be in today. And so as you guys walk in, that clerk, half elf, not dressed to the nines, but definitely a very professional looking, nice pleated robes and all that, looks you both up and down, and I'm sorry, what can I do for you? I don't recognize either of you here. This is irregular, and we don't deal with irregularities very often. Can I help you?
And Theo's gonna look at the half-elf clerk, and he's gonna kind of go back to that standard behavior that he has when he's a bit nervous, gonna rub the back of his neck, and he's gonna give him a grin, and he's gonna say, well, maybe. My friend and I here, we were looking to see if anyone maybe had any employment opportunities of the adventuring sort, perhaps, or that type of thing.
No, that's not. There are some jobs boards. If you go back towards the main gate into the Heath Farthing, just to the south of here, that's you might be able to find some job listings for someone of your capabilities. No, this here is a meeting house for some of the larger heads of. It doesn't really matter. But
well, I mean, I guess I am kind of curious too. I'm new to town.
Clearly.
What is this type of place? Well, yeah, obviously. I guess it's pretty obvious, huh?
If you don't know, you'll find out if you get involved with the right people who do know. It's one of those sorts of places. There's a degree of exclusivity that.
Clore's gonna cut him off and lean in and say, "Don't mind my friend here. We're here to collect on a bounty. It's probably a bit over your head. Can you just direct us to where the clerk is?"
Roll a deception check.
That is going to be a 14.
Hmm.
Oh, well, uh, do you have a description of the individual? Also, I'm not usually. Do you have to
Listen,
take them in? Do you have to harm them?
as
Because,
as you said, if you need to ask questions, then you obviously aren't in with the right people. Could you please just point us on our way?
I need to do. There are many rooms here, and I don't know which one it is that you need to procure your meeting with without
Yes.
details
Hang on.
around
It
that.
was
In
the
that one, by the way.
the gr- the grand the grand oh, what's his name? Oh, the grand you know who I'm talking about. I was just
Um,
Ah,
Grand is are you saying he is grand stature? Because there's
no, his
we
name,
have
that's his title. It's the grand starts with
oh
a
um
grand
are you sure you're at the right
no
call for this?
let me look, Theo, we're at the right place, right? Yeah, this is definitely the right place. Is it Marshall? Marshall? Is that's I think that's who we're supposed to.
You're looking for the which we have the Marshall blacksmith, we have the Marshall baker, we have there's the one who's in charge of some of the more finer goods. He deals with sculptures, pottery, over those.
No, his name starts with a P. I know it. It starts with a P.
Marshall
Percival.
Marshall Percival.
Yes, that's what it is. That's what it was.
What, a bounty?
Listen.
Do you have to harm him, or do you take him in alive?
Oh no, we don't take him in. We are reporting to him. He's the one that hired us, but
you wish to have a conversation about a bounty here in a public meeting place?
Well,
what sort of bounty hunters are you?
It's not for a human. Are you kidding me? Shh. We're not trying to harm anybody. We were literally procuring goods for him.
Reserve rooms here too? I mean, I think we overheard you talking to people, directing them around to different
meeting
rooms, right?
Rooms, yes.
Right. So my friend here is saying that he'd like to have a meeting with Marshal Percival about that job in one of these meeting rooms.
How these things are scheduled. This is quite irregular. And you see, he's just very uncomfortable with just the level of like, are you here to kill people? Are you not here to kill people? You're now saying you're procuring goods. Are you trafficking drugs to this guy, to Marshall?
Genuinely confused while this is going on.
Confused, distressed, all kind of at once. Just go to
So Thor looks at Theo and says, "This man cannot help us. Marshal Percival is going to be very displeased. We'll just go find him. We'll go to his shop and talk to him later."
Oh dear, but and just kind of starts glancing upstairs like, look, he's supposed to...
Oh, okay, Theo, come on. We'll find him ourselves, and we just walk. I just start walking upstairs. Clore walks upstairs.
And as Theo is following after Clore, as soon as they kind of like get out of earshot of the clerk, he just kind of leans over and he says, "I didn't know you knew no one here, Clore."
Well, I recognize the names. You never know who you know until you know them, and sometimes you just got to know people. And he just keeps walking.
You're really well connected. And Theo shrugs and follows after him, totally believing that they are about to head into a meeting with Marshal Percival.
Great. So
Theo is just like looking around this building. He's like, "Wow, this is a."
There are stairs that kind of go up both sides, that lead to kind of a walkway that has an overhang. It looks like they took where there was an open ceiling in the tavern where you could seat people and just kind of have the music and the heat and the ruckus of the night just kind of be shared across the two floors. They've squished the hallways a little bit and or squished the balcony a bit and made it like a hallway and have carved out like or set up walls to set up different rooms along the upstairs.
Are there name tags on doors?
There are not. It appears that the clerk is the one who kind of orchestrates and directs where people ought to go. You just happen to know that Percival is probably on the second floor somewhere.
Okay, so Clora's going to look. He's gonna look around and see if he can find another like office assistant or another clerk that may be walking around with books or maybe hustling through the hallways from room to room to try and maybe ask a question of where he might find Marshal Percival.
Unfortunately, after kind of walking around and looking around the upstairs, none of the doors have like any windows or anything. So there's no one obvious, and it looks like the only person who really attends to this place is, at least right now, the clerk up front. You know, he just kind of helps keep the place in order, orchestrates what's what, and you know, maybe at the end of the day he goes through and cleans stuff up or anything, but he just kind of seems to be in charge of it.
So DM, you know, like looking around, noticing the confusion here, and thinking genuinely again that his buddy Clore can't find the guy that he's supposed to be having a meeting with. Theo's gonna like lean over and kind of stare down at the clerk from the nearest available perch, basically, and say, "Excuse me, pardon me, sir. Question, real quick."
Yes.
I don't think you ever told us what room we were supposed to go to meet with Mr. Marshall Percival. And all the doors are shut.
He just kind of like points over at like, you know, if he's looking up at you guys, you're kind of like slightly off to the right, and he's kind of pointing like across the way to the left. You know, probably 4 doors down from where you guys are at, vaguely. Oh.
Theo points to the doors like that one.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you very kindly for your help. Sorry to disturb again.
Come on.
I know you're pretty.
I knew that. Come on, let's go. We got a meeting.
Oh, okay. All right. So Theo's gonna trot obediently back over to Clore and be like, "Well, I mean, you look kind of confused there for a bit, which I understand. There's an awful lot of doors in this place."
Yeah, I always get confused if it's the second or third door, but they all look the same.
Sure do.
Clore's gonna go up now that Theo is completely like ready for this meeting. He's gonna go up to the door,
totally.
and as confidently as he can, he's going to knock firmly twice and then just try the door and walk in.
Okay. It's a very clean, well-kept meeting room. The table's made of wood and seems to have like a leather inlay on so there's like a wooden rim that goes around the edge, and there's like a leather softened like inlay on the surface. You can see a couple of minor indentations from where like some either plates or mugs or like maybe a vase has kind of sat at different times of the year. The chairs are rather ornate and shiny and clean. They have cushions and everything, and you're like, cushion chairs, like, my god. Novel concept.
Fancy.
And you know, there appears to be just like vague, you know, like landscape paintings kind of like on the wall. There's a window that lets in some of the natural light, and some unlit candles in case they were, you know, I guess having a meeting in the evening, but there's no one in here.
So I walk in and I turn around to Theo and say, it seems like he forgot about our meeting. I'm going to try and find him. Just follow my lead. Some of these people don't know who I am, but the marshal definitely will, and we'll figure this out.
Theo nods and he says, "Sure, absolutely, Clore. I trust you. I mean, it would have been nice to know that we were meeting for a meeting. I would have made sure that my outfit looked even better than it does now. Maybe would have tried to double check, make sure I look good. But I'll take your lead. I'll follow your lead there, pal.
Yeah, absolutely. That's my fault. I should have let you know. Um, follow me. And Clore just walks back down to the clerk at the front desk.
Just as
And
you reach the bottom step, you hear a loud, thunderous explosion outside. In fact, all of you guys hear it. There's a huge, thunderous explosion. The two of you who are outside, which would be Rinningham and Penn, you guys can see from within the inner walls, there appears to be a large plume of dust, smoke, and possibly flames that are reaching several, several feet higher than the wall. I guess really, tens of feet higher than the wall. As one of the large central spires appears to have erupted into flame with an explosion. Everyone else who's could hear it but hasn't seen it yet, all the guards start rushing towards, down kind of down the streets towards where you understand the closest gates to the intersection of the city to be. And with that, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to break for about 15 minutes. I need to get more water and things and stuff, and then we will pick up from here. So I'll see you guys in a couple minutes. All right, we are back.
I thought about it.
So
It was like high school all over again.
an explosion has occurred in the central district of the city of Spires. The guards have started running towards the gates to go assess the situation. Now, about a few moments after the explosion and the flames, you can start hearing the pattering of small stones and scrap from whatever caused the initial blast, making its way outside of the wall and many cases, like halfway through the districts to the outside wall. It's a substantial explosion. And it doesn't take long for the screaming to start, kind of echoing out as panicked folks are trying to, flee the directions they believe that, might be most dangerous and try to find, their families and get back to safety. And we're going to pick up with Penn in the market, watching cattle and, trying to find some salacious behavior go on with, salacious is the wrong word, criminal activity take place of the stabbing sort, when you happen to hear a very loud explosion and followed by some screaming, which may help you find some of what you're looking for.
Yes, Penn whips around and looks in the direction wherever the smoke is coming from and gives a wide, toothy grin to himself and goes, probably some bodies in there. Let's see if we can get them before they're crispy. And makes his way as hastened as he can without actually running to try and assess what's going on. What happened? Are people running away? Is anybody injured? What's on fire? Oh, maybe I should help. Is there a reason I should help? I don't know yet.
So from where you're at in the market section, most people seem to be coming from one of the gates due west of you here. If they, there seems to be a flood of people moving towards the market that you're at. So going against the traffic seems to be a reasonable route to go and possibly find your way inside that inner wall. Most of the people you've seen so far.
Through the crowds, at least, then I'm at least going to take my hood off and let my tail slip out. Maybe they'll give me an extra wide berth of space.
These people don't care anymore. They're more afraid of whatever it is that they're running from, or in the case of, sheer panic after a giant explosion, it's, has flames high enough you can see over the walls. They are, most of these people seem to be, like, unscathed. They just appear to be fleeing whatever the source of the disruption was. But they seem to pay you no mind. In fact, you're kind of getting bumped in against and navigating against the flow. Not as easy as you would have hoped. Takes you a couple of minutes to make your way to the gatehouse on this particular section of the city. But you do find that is no longer manned, and the few guards that seem to be making their way through the crowds like you are kind of rush through, trying to skirt their way around the people. And now you're starting to see some of the people who are covered in dust. Some are covered in soot. Some are appear to be wounded or limping. And yeah, so that's kind of what you're seeing at this gate into the central district.
Interesting.
The only people moving towards it appear to be you and the guards.
Well, can't figure out what's going on if you're not up by the action. Is there somebody like on the ground nearby that I can help up?
No, it doesn't appear to be anyone who's been knocked over per se. Actually, you know what? Give me a perception check. That's actually why would I just tell you no when there very well could be? Who knows?
17.
What? We're gonna do something real quick. We're gonna Okay. So there's not someone necessarily who's fallen that you can help up, but you can see some individuals who are limping. They are, kind of dragging their feet. You can see there's bloodied gashes. Definitely some wounded who could probably use a bit of assistance.
I mean, I can't really help them, but I can go over and just wanted to ask them about maybe what they saw was going on,
Are you dead
what
yet?
they heard
Are you dead
about.
yet?
Yes,
Only
Ben's
mostly
first
dead.
he goes up to the first one. He goes, "How badly are you feeling? Do you see any lights? Are any of you seeing any
There's-
bright lights?"
There's such a bright, it's fire and explosion,
Keep
and
going.
then
Go
there's-
towards the light. You're doing great. Just keep going towards
the
it.
lights
Do
back
not-
there.
Well, you're fine.
So he just kind of shoves you off and then just kind of keeps limping down the street. Help me. And, you know, just kind of other rest of the crowds of people. And he stumbles a little bit and picks himself back up, and you see his leg is not doing so hot. And he's just kind of... And then he kind of gets lost into the crowd. There are people from the surrounding districts even who are kind of like heading easterly. Like they're moving away from where they were, like trying to go towards where they know they can even exit the city if they have to. And it's kind of just adding to the chaos of kind of where you're at this gate into the inner district.
Hmm. Well,
But you
I
do
think I
know
should
the
just
lights
find
that
over
away.
here, right. Pen's just gonna continue into the scuffle.
All right. You do make it to the into the where the guardhouse area is, and it's familiar. It's the place you actually managed to get your temporary paperwork turned into less temporary paperwork. Unmanned, kind of glancing around. There's no there's no real equipment left inside. It looks like whatever guards had started off here, took what they could and went in. But now you can kind of see the dust and the soot and the ash are starting to kind of settle down, and it's starting to slowly rain down little speckles of white as you make it through the this gate. And now we're going to jump over to Renningham.
Did I make it? Did I make it to the well or no?
You hadn't made it to the well yet. You made it about halfway. When you heard the explosion, and got to see the fire. Even as short as you are, the fire is tall enough. And you can kind of guess that it's like, oh, well, there's a market on the inside of, the inner wall. Judging from about where you're standing and where you can kind of see it, it's right off the mark. If it's not in the market square, or like the market itself, that's going off. It's right off to it, or right off side of it. So you can just kind of judge already. And it's like it's not a place you don't know. Like you that's where you spent a lot of your time would have been, just off the market district, when you lived here in a past life.
Yeah. So, I'm thinking with that big explosion, what are the people around me running towards it, running away from it?
Oh, they're running away. They are running
away.
towards the market that you were heading to get yourself some water. And then also you can see a swarm of people starting off, uninjured and plainly clothed, and then increasingly people who are covered in dust, covered in soot or ash, some who are wounded, bloodied, limping.
Right.
See some people helping each other, like kind of carry their wounded friend along. He's got like a gash on his head.
Right.
That kind of deal. And the people from the Golden Scepter district and even some of the districts west of you appear to be moving in your direction to try to head towards the front gates.
So the swell of the crowd is kind of pushing me that way.
Is pushing you away from where the source of the the fire and
the
stuff
big
is.
Explosion was.
It's pushing you closer to your destination of the well at the market, but
yeah. Well, I mean, I'm kind of I've kind of been snapped out of that, trying to get a drink of water. I'm trying to think. So if Okay, so the center spire exploded. It's kind of in the direction of the market, of the interior market district. Yeah, I think I would just keep like kind of go with the crowd and kind of see where that takes me, because it was kind of I'm not going to be running towards the fire. Like I'm not going to be running towards the giant explosion. Um, if the crowd's already pushing me, I'm already kind of small. I can really battle my way through. So um, yeah, just kind of being swept away with the crowd really at this point.
Okay, I mean you're 3.5 feet tall, so there's not really too much.
It's not. It's very easy to sweep.
Yeah, you're either very easy to sweep, but if you were to try to weave through legs, you might be able to do stuff if you didn't get decked out, knocked out.
And I'm so with the I'm kind of casting my mind out too with the telepathy for my owl.
Okay.
Let's see if he's nearby. He's flying around somewhere.
As you try to kind of stretch out with your mind, you don't really hear anything back. Whether it's it's either the range or just there's too much commotion for you to be able to focus and be able to reach out to your feathered friend.
Okay.
As the crowd continues to shove you towards the market, as you go by, you happen to notice a figure in dark robes heading against the flow of the crowd. For about a moment, and you glance. They appear to have golden horns, and dark robes, and they kind of stand out as an individual that's moving against the flow of all these people. These wounded, hurting people who are shoving you towards the market.
So how close?
Oh, probably 10, 15 feet out.
Perfect. So as I'm being swept back, and as I'm already kind of casting out with my mind, noticing these gold horns, I see the kind of glint in the light, and I can kind of see this person. I throw my mind, and I just kind of, to get their attention, almost like hey, like wait, like what's that? Like I just that kind of spear of thought heads that direction with my limited telepathy.
Do they get any sort of save or anything for that?
I could just telepathically communicate simple ideas / concepts with any creature within 30 feet, as long as it understands at least one language.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So it's not really like a hey, it's like that impulse of like if someone shouts your name in a crowd, you think you kind of hear your name.
Yeah. Pen, in the back of your mind, as you head towards
she probably can't see me because
head towards the gate, you just get a kind of like an alert in the back of your head of like, hey, what are you doing? As a feeling, not so much a like
to reach you about your car's extended warranty.
What an introduction.
Wow.
Sorry.
Congratulations, you have a telemarketer as a party member.
Oh no.
Oh gosh, could you imagine?
I immediately.
Oh my gosh, the Verdant would be the worst and or best like markets, marketing people. They could literally just like stand out in town square and just like intrusive thoughts. Anyway.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
Every single city winds up with regulations on marketing and mass marketing the use of telepathy without consent.
Yeah, the there's population quotas now on Verdun because they're considered to be a troublesome race.
Why is this Verdun guy over here dead? He kept talking.
Yeah.
No one knows a thing.
Gotta sign up for the National Do Not Disturb list.
D&D list.
Okay. So yeah, you get this, for a fraction of a second, you get this like, huh? But you're kind of heading towards you've got a goal in mind, Pen. Rin, you are yanked towards the market, against your
Mm-hmm.
against your will, effectively. And you get there, and as you approach the market, lots of the stalls have kind of been either closed up, pulled off the main stretch, or straight up abandoned. And several of them appear to have been quite possibly ransacked. There's just kind of strewn pieces of things there, as opposed to what you saw, but a few minutes to an hour before. And as there's room for people to disperse, you can see that there's a lot of people who are sitting around the well, mostly wounded, who are, someone's pulling up a bucket for them and trying to give them some water, or like someone are trying to wash their wounds, as you, find yourself in the center of a wide open area, and looking to the northwest, you can still see the fire and the smoke. The plume of smoke is just getting taller and taller. And with that, we are going to jump to Bob.
My coffee has become a to-go cup. As I head towards the front of the gnomish
Coffee shop?
What do we want to call it? It's not a coffee shop. A barista area, maybe? Is that where you store baristas?
Barista area.
We'll go with it. Sure.
Okay. So I'm headed towards the door, and then it's like, sounds like something interesting. Oh, by the way, before I forget, every time I hear Ren, I keep expecting to hear Stimpy, and every time I hear Pen, I keep expecting to hear Teller. So there's like this weird name association going on in my brain.
Just you wait, Jim. Just you wait. The names will get better.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them. I'm just saying that my brain keeps going like into a next step, and it's never there. So it just kind of steps off the edge, so to speak. Okay, so we're headed to the front door.
So from the front door, give me a perception check.
A check of my perception. What do I see?
A check of your perception.
What do I see?
Especially because you are not exactly a city dweller, and the pure cacophony definitely makes it a little harder to, figure stuff out.
Woohoo! I rolled an 18.
All right. So, you kind of glance off, and you can kind of see off to the right where the large plume of smoke is rising. You can see some of the flames licking above the walls as you are just north of the market that you had kind of started to peruse before. And with that, you can hear and see off to the left where lots of people who have kind of, abandoned their homes, or even, or just their shops, or just kind of running through the streets, they all appear to be heading towards that wide open market area that you had kind of looked at before.
Looks like a blight upon the land. I shall go and observe. This looks like it could be a good time.
So
and I wander that direction.
You're gonna start heading against the crowd towards where they're coming, or towards the market?
Towards the now burning structure, at least hopefully burning.
Okay. Cool. So yeah, so you start having to navigate, and you're having to push against the crowd as well.
Hey, careful. Hot beverage. Dude abides, man. I got a beverage here.
Give me a dexterity saving throw.
I don't like where this is going.
Roll to save the coffee.
Oh no.
Roll to avoid serious burns.
Oh, and it could be that hot. It was Tinker Gnomes. Oh no. That's a 4. I'm covered.
Yeah, that's
The dude is not happy.
You've got to be kidding me.
Spilled my
Okay.
beverage, man.
You take damage from a hot coffee. This is our first damage, and it comes from a hot coffee.
There's a reason why regulations exist in corporate settings.
Man, they served it at 110.
So, Bob, as you run through the streets, and trying to, definitely keep your hot beverage, someone just kind of plows straight into your chest, and the cup, kind of gives, and it just kind of sprays hot beverage all over like your chest and up the front of your neck, and you do take a point of damage.
Oh man. Uncool.
And you're down to like a third of your beverage in a cup that is crunched, and the guy just kind of like shakes off and just keeps on running. Like he just doesn't even look at you. He just kind of like, what the and just kind of keeps on going. And it doesn't take long for the wounded and the dusty to also start showing up. People who are clearly coming from inside closer to where this all happened. And for you as well, you start to see the ashes coming down from the sky. Nice pale gray snow that, has a distinct smell to it, as reminds you of the terrible things you've witnessed in some of the nicer forests you've ever been.
Oh man, this is like a forest fire in the city. All right, cool. Let's continue on our path as the walking wounded run by me, and I just kind of go, "Yeah, I'm not going to heal you. I'm not going to heal you. No.
Stingiest healer ever. This is gonna be great.
Why heal when you can recycle?
Oh no.
Anyway,
Everybody has a purpose eventually.
I like.
Anyway, yeah. So it takes you a couple minutes to fight against the crowds, and you even have to use a little bit of some back streets in order to get around where people have kind of stopped up, and you can see that they're kind of pulling themselves away into a bit of an alleyway to kind of tend to those who are having a hard time moving. You can see that like some of their wounds are just much larger, and now that they're away from the largest swaths of trampling people, it's like they can start tending to them. And you kind of have to skirt around, and then before long you're able to find yourself against the large wall, and occasionally you see a guard kind of run past you, and they're with their armor, they're actually kind of like shoving people away, and people seeming to give them some berth, as opposed to you, some random guy who looks like he grew up in the woods, walking against the crowd. They're just like, what the hell? And you do make it to the gate, and you find yourself at a similar looking guardhouse. You just kind of offset into the section of the wall, to the one that you saw at the front, except it appears to have like a proper like kiosk, not kiosk, like clerical window kind of thing that you could work through. And you suspect that if there wasn't a giant fire, this would be a good place to get your papers converted.
That's my 3 silver pieces at work right there.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
As I take a sip of the remainder of my coffee. That's a good start. All right, cool. It's a blight. It's a blight upon Mother Nature.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna now jump over to Theo and Clore. For you guys, off to the southwest, there appears to be a loud noise. There appears to be fire. There's smoke billowing up into the air, and it took a little longer, but now you can hear the screaming, and people are starting to flee the area and start, filling up the streets as they are trying to head further from whatever it is that caused all of this.
Mm-hmm.
As you guys are inside a guild hall.
Clore, your buddy there, Marshal Percival, right? I'm assuming he's one of those highfalutin types, right? Like the type that might live in that type of area. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm already mighty worried about those people in general, too. So you know what I'm thinking, good buddy?
Oh, I can guess.
I'm thinking maybe we should mosey our way over there, see what's up, and if we can help and maybe find your buddy Marshal Percival, make sure he's okay, and then render what aid we can. It's the right thing to do, after all, right?
Yeah, I'm totally into doing what the right thing to do is. Let's let's do that.
As Clore says that, Theo like pats him on the back. It's a nice hearty pat. He's just like, so this is why I like you. This is why we get along well as traveling companions. Great minds, as the saying goes, think the same. So
Yeah, I'm right there with you, buddy. And he gives him a little like fist bump on the shoulder, like yeah, you go, man.
all right, and Theo is gonna like nudge his way out into the street and kind of start meandering his way, against the crowd towards the area of chaos. And as he walks, he's just kind of casually continuing conversation with Clore while this is happening. There's people, running by, and he says, I, I I don't know what it was like where you were from, but back in Modesty, the town closest to my little homestead there, whenever anything like this would happen, everyone would try to rally around and see what they could do to help. So I sure am glad that you're right here with me.
And to be clear, Clora is following along, probably about 5 to 8 feet behind, not listening to a word Theo is saying, and just doing the old telephone check. Sure. And as he walks out of the building, he looks at the clerk and just rolls his eyes like, "Are you kidding me?" And just follows Theo like, "I guess this is what we're doing now." And he's just like, "Yeah, back where you're from. Yep, yep, sure, yep."
Cool. Small town.
Very small
Now one of
town.
the good guys. Yeah.
One thing Clore does do is he looks around as he's like, as the two of them, I guess, are trying to work their way through the crowd, and is looking for somebody or anybody just doing what they're doing. And by that I mean like going the opposite way of everybody else. Like, is there anybody else that is
Give me a perception check.
gonna be a hero or trying to walk against the crowd and like move the right direction, or is everybody just completely moving the other way? Perception check. We have an 11.
It's really hard to tell. So, not for not trying, as you kind of make your way through the crowd and people are pushing against you and shoving against you, and you can kind of see where different parts of the crowd are flowing at different speeds, and it might look like, there are people trying to move against it, but it also could just be someone may have tripped and fallen, and now people are slowed around that particular spot.
So Clore's just going to keep his hood up and just follow Theo, and I guess that's what we're doing.
All right. So it's a bit of a trek. You'd kind of know where the gate is on the northern side of the central district. And the closer you get, the tighter compact of people are as they are trying to flee and head towards from whence you came. But you do eventually make it to the guardhouse and the gate into the intersection. By the time you make it there, it looks like the crowds, however, are starting to die down. Most of the people who have made it to go, made their way out that way, appear to have done so. There's, compared to the southern side, there's more room to disperse, quickly from that particular portion of the city. And you kind of see just the occasional straggler, like someone who's just kind of like walking in a daze and covered in smoke. And one guy is you can see he's partially burnt on the side as he's just like, can I? And he's can't even complete a sentence as he just kind of makes his way over and finds a place to sit down. He's,
So is the fire dying down, or does it seem like something's feeding the fire? Like, is there something
from
actively...
where you guys can see? It looks like the fire is still kind of going. And now that you're, inside the gate, this is clearly one of the taller spires. It's south of you now. You guys haven't been on the inside district yet, so you're not really sure exactly how to get towards it. But it is burning. It is burning bright. It is burning hard. And you can see that some sections are even starting to cave slightly on the upper sections of this spire. Now we're going to jump back to Penn. Penn, there are lots of wounded who are moving past you. And you can see guards are trying to kind of ferry people as they run past. They're trying to like guide them out towards the gate that you've just come through. Occasionally, one will like tell another guy like, "Hey, take my post," and he'll run off in the opposite direction, not really sure, where he's off to, other than it's towards where all the chaos is. And you're starting to see more just people covered in burn wounds, as opposed to just things of shrapnel and bruising and now you're starting to see the person who's badly burned on their side, or being carried by their friends because they physically can't move anymore. You're missing limbs. You're looking at people who are severely wounded. Where do you head?
Pen is weaving and bobbing throughout the people who are sauntering away from the massive destruction, and is kind of humming to himself, just like checking over, going, "No, not you. No, not you. No, not you. Definitely not you." And the closer he gets to the fire, the more discouraged he's becoming. There's just nothing salvageable at this point.
As you meander your way north, I guess it's like northeasty, um, you're starting to see more and more debris. There's large chunks of stone. There are pieces of wood that are burning and smoldering off to the side. The ash is starting to get thicker. Every so often, some of the wind seems to blow in such a way that the dust and everything else from the explosion kicks back up, and now it's mixed with ash. And so, what was a like brownish haze is now brown and gray, and before you could maybe occasionally make out like a silhouette of someone. It's now like the wind blows a certain way and you can't see anything for 10 feet before then it clears again. And reveals like a person who's been trampled, or partially crushed by some debris, as the building that's burning comes more and more into view the further you head in. It's just off the market. There's as you make your way to the clearing, you can see this massive towering structure, just completely engulfed in flame, and sections of it, as it falls, it hits other buildings and kind of, if it's wood, it kind of shatters and kind of pops into shrapnel, and you can see the fire just kind of spreads everywhere, and it's slowly smoldering on some of the rooftops, and then occasionally a piece of stone will just kind of fall and as a single piece and thud solidly into the ground, and you're like, huh, only there was a person there. Versus another one that'll fall, and when it hits, it kind of splinters and kind of shatters into kind of like a grenade, kind of just like, and off in different directions, and it's all hot stone. There's more guards now, and they're kind of like, you can see they're trying to like sift around, and they're calling out for people. They're calling out to each other.
Somebody took a lot of either planning, or this was a massive experiment gone wrong. Pen's just going to continue making his way to the epicenter. No, now his curiosity is piked, and while he is looking for bodies, it's become second priority to just figuring out what's with the chaos, guys. What are we doing?
As you do, the guards in the area, like, they kind of keep trying to like guide you. They'll stop you for a second, like, draw, head back that way. It's not safe here. Or and as you keep going, they just assume that you're kind of dazed. Just kind of taking your leisurely stroll in closer to the fire, and before long, you reach a point where the ash that's kind of and soot that's kind of billowing out from the fire is enough to more just obscure your vision, other than a red glowing structure that goes up hundreds of feet. There are corpses kind of strewn in various states of assemblage. And yeah, there's no one really yet cleaning up the mess as the fire is still burning, and you start seeing some people coming in with like buckets, and they'll stop because they look up and they just kind of put the bucket down, and some guards kind of will come up and like, you need to get out, no, and then they've just gotten used to you standing there at this point.
Pen's gonna go over to the corpses, crack his knuckles, and be like, well, since nobody's keen on pestering me at this point, let's have some practice.
And on that chilling note, we're going to switch over to Renningham.
Yeah, so I'm kind of curious about the gold horns that I saw pass. I mean, I know that it was just kind of a fleeting thought that went their way. They didn't even stumble, they just kind of kept going, or like they didn't even pause to look back, or
Barely even
didn't really-
flinched. A person who's used to being avoided was kept getting bumped into, and suddenly had a tickle in the back of their brain. Was like, oh, hey.
Yeah. Huh. So there's some people around me. Some of the ones that are a little more, well, some of the ones that were kind of closer to the epicenter. I go up to them and I want to know, what part of the city did you come out of? How close were you to the blast?
Please, sir, I don't want to die. He's pulls his hand off of his side. You can see there's actually like a massive wound that he's been holding. And as he pulls it away, it starts to spread even more. Please, sir, I was just walking home. I just wanted to go home.
I'll rip part of the bottom of his shirt off and use
Prestidigitation.
Words are hard.
that one. Prestidigitation.
There you
There
go.
you go.
There it is. To clean that strip of cloth and then tie it around his midsection and just kind of say, you should be fine. Just don't move too much. And then I'm just gonna get up and kind of move on to the next person and ask kind of the same question of, how close were you? Did you was anybody moving around?
It was just an explosion. It
Okay,
just
people are.
went up, and there was people everywhere and stuff. I don't know. It's all kind of a. Are you a god?
Am a god?
No, god. Like, where's your armor?
Oh no, I'm not a guard. If I was a guard, I'd be trying to take money from you.
Only 3 silver.
As I'm still walking, and I'm trying to think of. I every time that I talk to someone else, I keep thinking about those gold horns and that person I saw walking against everybody. Is there still like a huge crowd of people streaming out, or is it just kind of?
It's starting to
like
die down a
push?
little bit. The initial
so I
the
can
initial wave, you just kind of happened to be right there when it was going on. Where
Okay. So I kind of recognize. You mentioned before that I kind of recognize that part of town that blew up. Now that the crowd's kind of died down, and it doesn't seem like I'll be trampled, I'm gonna try and see if I can't find where those gold horns went.
okay, so yeah, you start heading back, the direction against where you knew the crowd was coming from, and it doesn't take you long to find yourself at the gate into the inner portion of the city. And once you get beyond the gates, you can see it's pretty barren. There's not a whole lot of people. There's some guards. They're still directing the occasional stragglers. Occasionally, you see them kind of helping some people along. And as you kind of come through, one of them is like kind of gestures to you like, "There's no place for a kid. Get yourself back. Go find your family."
I beg your pardon.
Oh,
You think I'm a
sorry.
child.
It's not safe here. If you're
Safe
staying
for
around, it's at
who?
your own risk.
I very well assumed that risk. Thank you.
And as you say that, like another a gust of wind kind of blows by and kicks up some dust and ash, and you can like only barely make out the guard that you were just talking to before it passes, and pretty readily see that it's not the easiest of situations right now.
Okay. I'm gonna cast Fairy Fire.
Okay.
Each object in a 20-foot cube within range is outlined in blue, green, or violet light. Any creature in the area when the spell is cast is also outlined in light. If it fails a dexterity saving throw for the duration, and affected creatures shed dim light in a 10-foot radius.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna kind of cast it out in front of me a ways, like arm's length. So it's a what did I say, a 20-foot cube.
Yeah.
Just to kind of see what's in front of me.
What's the DC on that?
Looks like a 15. 15 save.
That's a good. I forgot your charisma's a million. So yeah. So
you wouldn't be able to tell based on how I'm talking to these people.
1 million charisma.
1 million monies. He as you do, the guard that you were just talking to, you can kind of now see that his back is to you, and he's like, oh, and he's now glowing faintly, and you can see kind of like, think of like a video game kind of like radar scan, where like for as the moment the spell is cast, like, and you can kind of see like glowing segments of like rock and debris and stuff that was already burning, kind of burns, glows a little bit brighter for but a moment, and they kind of stand out. But the dust is, it's easier to see them against the dust, but the dust is still like, doing a pretty good job of obfuscating it. However, you do think you can probably pick some of it up and just like kind of chuck it like lanterns that you can throw out in front of you.
Right.
But now that you're beyond the gate, you can definitely see that the burning structure was right on the market square. In fact, looking up, if you remember correctly, it may have been your old office.
Dun dun dun.
Okay. So there's nothing else in front of me that I can really tell that would be in my way if I just kept walking forward and heading towards where I guess the center of the blast would be.
No, it's really more just as you go, you see more and more debris. You start seeing wounded who have stopped moving. You see people who probably haven't moved in quite a few minutes at this point. You see there's guards who are still trying to like kind of shuffle people out of the area. They see you kind of walking against the grain, and occasionally they call out to you like, "Hi, what are you doing?" But they don't interfere with you per se. Yeah, and with that, we're going to jump back over to Bob, who is at that same gate area.
I have a feeling that these golden horns are going to turn into a yellow umbrella.
No, this is not How We Met Your Mother.
Are you sure?
Although that is solid reference. Solid reference.
I get lucky every now and then.
All right. So, you are beyond the gate, and you can kind of see where the dust and the ashes are kind of flowing through, and there's fewer and fewer people making their way out. Guards are kind of doing their best to direct people, and you even see what appears to be a small green child dressed kind of nicely, adventure-y, kind of just skirt along one side of the wall and just kind of disappears into the dust.
Green. Interesting. Moving pretty good. Not too worried about him. All right.
Against the flow, I mean, similar to you, but what kid should be doing that?
That's intriguing. Why would a child be going against the flow?
And as you say that, another like wounded person coming out of it just kind of stumbles and shambles into you, and you can see he's got almost no clothes on, and his body is kind of covered in pretty substantial burns, not enough that you can see like bones or organs or anything like that, but it's enough that you can tell he's gonna be disfigured for life. And he kind of just stumbles towards you. Do you have any food? I could go for a bite to eat.
Tell you what, bud, hang on just a second. Do you like garlic?
He blinks at you a couple times and then he just kind of turns and starts walking, just packed through the gate.
Hey, come back here. Come back here, buddy.
Do you have any food?
Don't those burns hurt?
Burns? I'm burnt. Ah! Ah! And he starts screaming bloody murder as the shock slowly begins to wear off and the pain unfortunately begins to set in as you have kind of
I will reach out and I will place my hand upon his shoulder and cast healing word because dang it, what the hell.
All right.
So that's for is he going to try to resist this?
No.
Okay. Let me roll my D4. So we don't have to do that. And he is healed up for 6 whole points of damage.
You watch as some of the worst parts that were like raw just kind of start to seal over, and parts of the skin that were like bright red kind of simmer down in color, and doesn't really help him much in the clothing department. But the screaming kind of turns back into a moaning. And he looks at you like with acknowledgement, but also in kind of like the shock is kind of starting to take back over again of just like, what the hell did I just have to be healed from? Why the hell am I experiencing this kind of? And he just kind of taps you on the shoulder and keeps on walking.
Excellent. You continue on your way. Get to feeling better.
A few moments later, you see a kind of a flash, and it looks like there is a man who's standing, who's glowing in the dust, and then things across the ground are also kind of glowing in the dust, and you can see kind of silhouetted against the glowing things is a small 3.5 foot tall-ish individual.
Well, this day just gets weirder and weirder. Wonder what this guy's up to. Do traipse on over there. Do.
All right.
What
and
the
you find
hell is
yourself
going on over here?
Rin, just as you have finished casting your fairy fire and starting to glow up the area, you get approached.
So, fairy fire?
I just couldn't see things very well. It's low to the ground, lots of dust. Were you in the blast?
No. I'm just here to spectate.
To spectate? Did you have something to do with the explosion?
Oh, good heavens, no! I'm not into that kind of thing. I mean, don't get me wrong. These buildings and structures are interfering with Mother Nature, but that doesn't mean that I go out of my way to destroy them. I do take a slight pleasure in watching them decay, but I'm not going to actively participate in this endeavor.
So then why are you here?
Socks.
There it
Wool
is.
or some kind of cotton blend?
I prefer wool. It keeps you warm even when they get wet, and they last a long time. So,
Very important.
As a curiosity, why are you here trying to see through a dust cloud? I have to admit, I'm completely perplexed by fairy fire. You don't see this very often.
I was looking for a pair of horns. Gold horns.
I would imagine that would be an interesting thing to shop for in this town, perhaps.
Oh, I wasn't shopping for them. I saw them walking this way. Assumed that they were either part of this commotion or knew something that was going on.
am I to assume that these horns were attached to a body, or were they just walking in tandem?
They must have been attached to a body. They were moving on their own.
Oh, oh, well, huh? Let me tell you what. Let me take a look here. Let me just do a little perception. Since I'm a little bit taller, perhaps I can see a little bit farther on your behalf. Uh, let's see. Do 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 do. All righty, let's do a little perception there. All right, dirt and dirt and dirt. That's a whole 16 to see if I can see some golden horns floating amongst this crowd.
So there's not much of a crowd, but as you glance around, you can see occasional glints of what appear to be armor, which you suspect to be the local guard working on stuff, guiding some people. And you do see a dark figure that kind of seems to like stand up and move to another mass on the ground and crouch down, be there for a few moments, and then stand back up and then move over to another one and crouch down for a few moments and stand back up.
Hey, Bud, is your doctor or is your horn wielding person like in the medical profession?
I was only following the horns. I know nothing. I just assumed that they had something to do with the explosion.
Well, I see a figure of interest. I don't know about horns, but they certainly seem to be caring for the wounded.
So, can I see them as well?
Now that he's pointed them out, you can kind of make out like something that what you think you see looks similar to what has just been described. And with that, we're going to jump.
Okay, good.
They're about 30 feet from you. We're going to jump over to Theo and
Chlor.
Chlor. I literally just thought, I'm like, starts with a K. Where is it? Chlor. You guys are coming in from the northern side. The swarms of people have been lessened. The wind appears to be coming from your direction, so every so often when a gust comes by, it actually reveals more of the burning building, and you can see thicker billowing smoke as parts of it continue to erupt in flame, and other sections kind of continue to cave out as structure burns away. As the plumes kind of head southerly.
Okay, well, as they approach, Theo stopped talking about the time when Miss Mabel's cow accidentally knocked over a lantern and set a local barn on fire. And that was the biggest fire.
Oh, yeah, fire, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That was the biggest fire that their small town had ever seen in years, since the time when the former mayor's cat knocked over a candle in the middle of the night, or so that was the story, but everyone really knows that it was part of an illegal liaison that was going on.
Yeah.
Or that's the rumor, at least.
Yeah, the mayor, yeah. Mm-hmm.
He's kind of sobered up as they approach, and he's getting like more into serious business mode, taking into account exactly what he's seeing. He's never seen a fire this big before, or this much destruction centered in one place. And what Theo would like to do, aside from suggesting to his friend Chlor that they keep their eyes peeled for his friend, Mr. Marshall Percival, just in case he's in need of assistance, is look for the nearest guard or seeming person of authority to offer their aid as well.
Yeah, we should find a guard. Wait, a guard? No, I think no, I think we're good. Just find I think there's people over there that need help. Let's just go that way.
And Theo follows the pointing of his hobgoblin friend, and I'm assuming that Chlor was pointing at the apparent doctor.
Barber.
Does Chlor see anybody writhing in pain or making a scene or carrying bodies or
you do see some guards that are assisting people and trying to like move them along or guide them out, and like point the occasional straggler in your direction, because you guys are coming from the northern gate. And you do see occasionally like some of them will even like come beside someone who's like kind of limping, and they're like, come on, and they'll loop an arm around and just kind of help walk them along. And
is there anybody not not a guard, not a guard that is helping.
Not that
people,
seems
or-
to be taking any real authoritative action. It's usually the guards are like, "Hey, go help that person," to a random civilian, and the civilian's like, "Okay, I'm gonna go do that," because they're kind of in shock, and listening to blunt direction is the easiest way to handling those things.
So
However, as the wind continues to change and shift, you can see that the flames continue to climb, and you can now hear creaking within the structure.
yeah, so
Well,
As you
that
guys
ain't
approach.
good.
so Cloris says to Theo, I don't think we need guards to know what's going on here. Let's just find somebody around the base here and get them out of here. I think we just need to help them get out of here, and I think away from the guards. The guards are going, yeah, we should go that way. We should bring them that way.
That makes sense. And then we come back, we keep the process going till we've assisted, till it's too dangerous to assist. I like the way you think, pal.
Oh yeah, or we just get them to safety and yeah, sure. Let's sure.
All right, Theo would like to look around for the nearest apparent such person and or group of persons that.
All right, roll me a
need that
perception check.
assistance. All right, my first check of the day. Let's see here.
Check off the day.
That's a
And
10.
boom.
That's a whole 10.
We're crushing it.
As you continue to go, like, you're not seeing many people that you can help. You do see guards, and however your good friend Clore is like, "Hey, don't worry about guards. Let's go find people to help." You do see the plume of dust, and that is also now filled with ash and smoke, and it's kind of hard to tell, but you do hear noises like people moving and shuffling in that direction. And,
Look, I think there's a person over there. Let's grab that person. Whoever it is, that's that one. That person right there. That one.
Sure, shooting. Sure, absolutely. Sounds
And
like
then
a plan.
get them really far away from the guards. I mean the burning stuff. Yeah, that way.
And as Theo and Clore enter the plume at the base of this structure, and Rinningham and Bob also enter the plume and close in on Penn, who is absent-mindedly checking bodies, the creaking of the burning structure turns into a much louder groan, and you start to hear a crunching noise as we wrap up for tonight, and we will continue in 2 weeks.
Come on.
Oh
Right
no.
before we all get crushed. Oh man.
Roll dexterity saving throws.
You can't have the party, rocks fall and the party dies in the first session. Come on, guys.
We saved up for the
Okay.
second, the start of the
Run
second.
away. Run away.
Yeah, I did tell you guys to make 2 characters, right? Like that.
Oh, that's why we have.
Oh, well, thank you, DM. That was super duper fun. I really liked
Uh,
Yeah, it was.
yeah. All right, so we will not be able to meet up next week because I'm going to be in Arkansas. But the week after, it's like the week of Thanksgiving. So if you guys aren't available, let me know. But we'll shoot for that Tuesday, and we'll pick up here with the
Yay.
party finally being in 15 feet of each other.
The same.
There
It's
it
only
is.
taken us almost 4 hours.
Almost.
All right, guys. I'm going to say we're gonna adjourn here. Thank you all for joining, and we'll look forward to letting you guys know when the YouTube video is up on the channel, and then if and when we get to the podcast format of all of this, we're gonna go and try to make this as accessible as possible for as many people as possible. So, thank you all for joining and making this a great inaugural stream, and I hope you guys come back. This will be great.
Yay.
So,
All right.
Funness was had.
I guess
Yeah.
that's that.
Thank you.